Okay, hey guys, welcome back to the stream. This is Anurag, and yes, today we shall be doing some puzzle battles and puzzle rushes. Uh, let's have some fun. Let's see what we can do. Maybe break some records or do something interesting. So I'm gonna get started with some 3 minute puzzle rushes. Do some 5 minutes later and do some puzzle battles also. Let's see what we can do. Queen d8 is not possible because queen, there's a check on e1. Here, queen into e1, followed by queen f7 as a mate. I'm going to try to do some puzzle rushes fast, and later we're going to do some survival modes also, so stay tuned. Knight g5 and followed by queen h7, queen e6. And we win the bishop here. Knight f5 and the h8 rook hangs there. What do we do here? I think rook d8 should be good, but is there something better? Maybe bishop h3 is simpler. Let me just get this thing adjusted. I think this monitor is tilted. Well, Neeraj has been streaming quite a lot recently on the channel, and I'm at his place right now. As you can see, a different setup here. This is not my place. I'm at Neeraj's place right now. Oh no, I think I should have probably done something differently there. Knight into d4 followed by knight into e2. Bishop g7 traps that rook, and we capture the bishop. Knight c4 followed by queen e5 should be a mate. Here I think the queen is very vulnerable. I don't get it. I mean, capturing the h4 bishop sounds tempting. Looks tempting, my bad. Not sounds. Nothing sounds. Bishop d5. I think here queen d7 is a double attack, so that should be good. Oh shoot, that was a mouse slip. Pretty unfortunate. Knight d5 mate. Well, we have already done two wrong, but we can still get to 35 at least, I believe. I have faith. Do you? Let's see. Maybe queen c2 is not really good. What do we do here? Oh, the e7 knight is rook is hanging, so we can just do this. Queen d4 should be a double attack, which wins us the piece. Edge g3, I think, is an passant, which wins us material. Well, let's go for the mate, and we mate him. Very little time here. We got to go a little faster if you need to get to 35 or so. Let's see if you can get it done. I match with Vidit Madhav will be something that will be. I would love to do it, but I mean, let's see. I might ask Vidit, and we'll see how it goes. But I have my doubts. I mean, he has so many stronger oppositions to face, so I doubt that he will be really interested in a match like this. But it would be really interesting to do something like that. I think queen into b2 is good, seemingly good here. I guess this is not the best puzzle rush. 26 is not a good start, but the first one for the day, so we'll get better with time. We'll try to do one fast and get a good score here. Rook h2, followed by rook h3, rook g2 should be good enough. Queen b7, queen c8, followed by queen b7, bishop g4, followed by rook. Oh, rook d1 is not possible. My bad. Sorry, I'm pinned here. So what do we do here? We can capture the rook with the bishop. Sorry, that was embarrassing. Queen a5 is seemingly good here. Okay, that allows queen e5 check. Queen d5, the rook on e1 is hanging, and we win some material. Knight f3 followed by knight d4 is pretty interesting here. Okay, he just gives away his queen, and yeah, I think this is good. Bishop h2, a standard way to win the queen. Rook h7, rook h8 is a mate. Queen g8 and queen h8. Something better I'm missing out on though? Nah, I think this is good. Rook g8 is a mate. Rook h7, rook g7 followed by rook h8, queen h3, queen h4, rook d4, and we win the queen. Queen e7, rook g5, and rook f8 would have been a mate. Here we just win the queen, good enough. Here we win the rook, and the queen escapes. Since we are having some problems, we are only a piece up, so just giving the rook away is good enough here. Okay, what do we have here? Knight into e4 seems like the way to go. I don't see anything better. I think this is good enough. We are definitely a rook exchange up, sorry. So that should be good enough to win. Let's see, it seems easy. So we win the rook on c8, and that's a mate. Queen f4 followed by queen c6, and the queen escapes to b7. Rook g3 followed by queen h2 is a mate here. Well, I think g7, g8 is a mate here, so yeah, it didn't allow me to do it. Rook into g7, bishop at 6, and we pick up the queen on f3. Um, Book suggestions for beginners, actually. Let me think. Let me think. I'll get back to you 1 minute. What have you done thus far, Madhav? Like, what depends on what you have done. Like, I mean, are you looking for an absolute beginner, or you're just recently started and you're doing okay? Like, you have done some chess in recent times. You have already read a couple of books or so. Then I can, based on that, I can give you a suggestion. Maybe you could enlighten me with what you have done thus far. There's one book which is not very heard of, especially in India also. But there's a book called Soviet Chess Primer, and it's an excellent book to start with. I came across it in the later stages once I became a GM, but that is a pretty nice book to read if you haven't already. It's a pretty nice read, pretty helpful, and a lot of useful stuff there. I think maybe knight f3 would have been better, more forcing. Yeah, I missed out, and I think 32 is not really a good score, but we'll keep going. We'll improve over time. You can see the top for the hour is 45. Let's see if we can get there. Maybe I can. Rook d1 for by rook e1. I'll do one very fast. I'll try to at least do. Sorry, king f7, king f8. Queen d3, knight e4, knight f6. Rook b8, rook b3, queen f5, queen b5. King d7, queen g5. Oops, knight b4. I think g3 is good enough here. Rook g7 is a mate straight away. Oops. Knight e5, bishop f7, queen d5, rook d5, knight at 6, queen at 6. Oh, sorry, queen g7, queen at 7 is a mate immediately. My bad. Queen d7, queen d8, and rook into d8. I think this should be good. Something better though? No, I think this is good. Knight into a3, rook c8 at 6, queen h4, and queen f6 to follow after that. I think rook c3 and knight b4 should be good here. And bishop a1, queen f3 is pretty much forced. Shall we go ahead? No, we had to go ahead with which one? d6 maybe. Okay, that was bad. Yes, we have to capture on c8. Oh no, we had to play bishop h7 here. I think bishop h7 followed by queen h5 and then queen into e8 would be winning here. Yeah, chess streams on Twitch and YouTube. Yes. So you watch chess streams on Twitch and YouTube. Okay. Actually, I closed the screen by mistake. A minute. Let's go back. Soviet Chess Primer is one. Many of the Dorotsky books and Yusupov books actually are the best. Yusupov, I'll have to take a look. I don't remember the series, but it's, I think, the Chess Evolution, or he has a series of 9 books which are really good. I think some of it is part of Dorotsky, or some of it is like individually written by him. But those are excellent book for beginners. Like, they're really helpful. Perfectly in the right direction. Like, they're perfectly streamlined. Like, those are one of the best books I've seen for beginners. And Soviet Chess Primer is one more book which is quite excellently written. So yeah, these books I would suggest to you. Queen into g5. I think rook g1 is seemingly fine here. Followed by knight g1. Bishop. Oh no, what am I doing? Bishop b5 check would have simply won the queen. I instead went for the piece. Okay. Bishop d4 followed by bishop f6. Queen a5 followed by queen b5. Queen at 6. Yes. No. Do check it out, mother. That'll be really helpful. I'm sure about that. e3. C to b2. I guess knight to c3 followed by knight d1, bc6. Here we have queen at 7. Knight f3, queen f1. Rook f7 and rook d7 should be good. I think a2 should queen here, so let's just trade and e2, and that's unstoppable. Knight into d4 seems good. Knight into e2 followed by fg6. Here we have queen g3, rook h1, 2 pieces, and we are a piece up finally. Bishop, sorry, we have a check here. So we can take on e7 and bishop c3. The king is not having any square to go. Immediately results in a mate. So here maybe they have a triangulation. So either queen e6 or queen e8. I think queen e6 and queen e8 and queen into f8 is quite good here. Thank you for the subscription, Madhav. Appreciate it. Your subscription will definitely help the channel grow, and thank you for helping us out here. Now, what is this? I think it's c7, c8 queen, rook into c8, followed by bishop into f4. Here I guess we have to go for something. I think queen e1 should be good, followed by bishop d4, and we win the queen, so that should be good. What do we do here? Queen into e7. Yeah, queen into e7 and followed by bishop e6 and queen into e6. Here do we have a mate to deal with, rook e2? Seemingly, but I think we have rook b2 coming here, so should be not okay. Should be not okay actually. Okay, there are some problem here. Rook b2, knight c1. We have to play king a1. What did I miss? Oh, queen c1 I missed. That's what I was wondering. What I missed there. 30 is not really a good score, but let's go with queen e2 followed by bishop e4 and we win the piece. Get this. I think queen f6. I think we can go. Okay, rook g3. I think would have finished it off. But 31. Okay, pretty slow start here. Not really something impressive, but let's go. Let's do it faster. This will be the one where, hopingly, let's go for something like 40, something close. Rook d7, d3, b1 queen, queen f5, queen g5, bishop h2, queen g2, ef3 simply wins us the piece, bishop f7, queen f3, g3, queen h5, queen g5, queen f7, rook d8, rook f8, bishop d3 or c3, bishop d3, bishop e2, bishop d1, queen f6, queen f7, and we do have to come back queen f6 and give a mate on h6. Now defend knight f6, knight g4, rook h4, and we win the piece there. Queen d6, rook e2, followed by rook e8 should be good. Queen d1, rook d1. I think this one is going quite well thus far. Rook d3, followed by rook h3. What do we do here? Knight d3, followed by queen b4 and queen b3. Rook d2, queen b2, and queen e1 comes with a check, so that's okay. Oops. What the just happened here? Oh no, I guess I clicked on something here and I've out of the page. I think we can resume though. Okay, we're back. I lost some time there, pretty unfortunate. King e5, king e6, and here we have rook f2, king f2, bishop e6, queen e4, queen a6, queen e5, and the piece on g5 hangs. Oh shoot, I should take with the rook there. That was unfortunate. King f5 should be good here. King f5 we have queen d7, and queen f5 we have knight e3. What do we do here? Knight d6. Well, is that really good enough? Well, we win the queen. I think knight d6 is good enough. We can just capture on h8 and capture on c8 or capture on d3. I think this is good. And just move the king. What do we do? King c4 and then rook c3. Yeah, I think that's good. What do we do here? 34 is not really that great, but we're trying. I think knight f2, knight e. I think we are not really winning this, so we should be happy with the draw. Okay, maybe we were winning that. Okay, I missed out on something there for sure. f4 I think is seemingly good here. Or bishop e6 and f4. Okay, that's I think we go with bishop e6 and then go with f4 here. Okay, 35. This is thus far been the best, but okay, rook into e3 is not really good. Maybe queen f4 is coming, but okay, running low on time there. 35 is a good. I think the best thus far for the day, but we'll keep improving. Yes, I do have a Twitch channel, Madhav. I mean, if you feel like it's underrated, that's your well, your opinion is it's nice to hear that, but I don't know for sure. But maybe yes. I mean, we'll try to collab with somebody else and try to try to grow. Maybe other chess channels maybe try to help each other and try to grow. Yeah, we do have Twitch. I have a Twitch channel. which is GM Anurag Mhamal, and it's there in the link down below, in the description. And Nandini, the other, like we had three of us, Neeraj, me, and Nandini. So Nandini also has a Twitch channel, which is Nandi Chess. You can check her out too. I guess bishop c5 followed by rook e7, and then we win the rook, win the piece. Sorry. Oh, okay, a b c6. Knight c5, queen a6. Yeah, definitely check it out, madam. Rook h3, knight h2, rook g3, knight d4, and we win the rook here. Queen d2 followed by rook d2 should be good. Simple chess sometimes trumps. We have rook f8 followed by bishop g5, and we win the queen, ef6, and gf3. Bishop h4 followed by bishop g3, rook h3, and the queen on e1 is hanging. Here I think we can go with this, or if it goes queen f2 we can go with c5, so it should be good. Knight into e2 definitely is going to support the queen. Here maybe knight e7 is one way, rook e8 is in the way, but I think knight f8 is the best. Knight f8 is the best. I think here we can go with queen g7 followed by rook g5, and then we have a mate. Okay, how do we go about this? I think we are queening close to, at least, so it should be good. Do we go with rook f7 here? Very tempting, but I think it's good. Queen e4, and that's a strong pin to deal with for black. I think here we're winning a queen with bishop c8 to follow, so this should be good. Bishop f5, and then queen g8, rook g8, and bishop d7 wins us a piece. Rook h5 is not possible because of a check, so first we got to deal with that. I think the rook ought to come back, if not mistaken. Am I missing something here? Maybe. Definitely seems like missing, but I'm giving it a shot. But it gives away the queen. Oh, rook c1 was covered. Yes, correct. I was missing, definitely missing something there. Okay, here I think queen e5. Oh, sorry, queen e5 is what I was intending. That was a mouse slip. But okay, 35 again. Let's try. Thus far, I've not been able to go about 35. Rook f8, d5. I need to focus a little bit more here. Queen f5, queen h5. Oops, queen to here, knight c3. Oh, we gotta capture the knight, the bishop, and give. And g4 should win the queen. h3 followed by queen f3, and we win the exchange. g5 check and queen f3. Knight a6, rook a7 is pretty simple. Rook into a2, queen b2 mate. d3 is good here with rook d8 to follow. Knight b3 sounds interesting, but I think queen d1 is pretty simple. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. I guess I missed something there. Bishop d4 would have kept a strong pin. I think that's what I missed. b4 sounds not so good. So bishop e3 pins the knight, and that's good enough for us to win. Rook into e3, queen c1, queen into e3. Yeah, knight e4 is pretty simple. Just winning a piece for nothing. Queen into f2 is a rook up, so that should be good enough. Knight g6 looks tempting, but maybe not the best. Or maybe it is. Knight g6, fg6, and then bishop h6 completely blasting through. Queen into f2, knight into e3. Rook into f8, queen b8. Well, I think queen e7 was even better, but queen b8 also was winning after bishop g7 and queen into e8. But yeah, just that wants the best move, and yes, rightly so. Missed out on that. I think here we got to go with rook d5 or rook c5. Which one? I think rook d5 because we want queen a6 to come here. Okay, rook into a5 and queen into d2. I think wins us a piece. Oh, sorry, knight c3 was first. My bad. Kasparov's chess masterclass. I've not really seen it yet. I mean, you're talking about on the it's a new thing, right? On that app. I'm not sure. Like, are you talking about that? Like, I have not definitely not watched it yet. If you're talking about the same thing, that like all the famous people and the top people in the world coming up with some kind of videos on the instructive videos on that app. I forgot what the app is. Masterclass is the app's name. I'm not sure which app it is, but yeah, I've heard of it. Quite growing quite nicely, but I have not checked it out for sure, so I cannot comment on it. Yeah, it's that, right? Yeah, I mean, I've not checked it out, but I've seen it. A lot of top players in the world with something there. What is this? I mean, am I missing that c6 is pretty simple here. I mean, d1 is covered, so that's winning. Queen a8, bishop e8, knight e6, queen d8, rook d8, queen h3, queen h2. I think we're winning with a check, so it should be good. Queen a4, followed by rook e3 is good. Bishop g3, queen into d4, e4, a into d3. Black cannot prevent the queening. So queen g3 followed by queen f2 and then bishop f5 and bishop e4 is a mate. Rook into c1, rook a1, bishop into a1 once just the queen, and here c4 should be good, and then fg4, queen c1, knight e2, knight c1, cd6, queen g7. The 3-minute puzzlers are supposed to be done faster, so that's exactly why I'm solving faster without too many explanations. But I'll do a puzzler survival soon, so there maybe I can entertain you with some explanations. I'll do it definitely slower, so stay tuned for that. We'll do some 3 minute and 5 minute puzzle rushes to warm up first though. Needs a warm up. I'm doing pretty slow today. Queen into e7 followed by rook g7 is good here, and knight f3, knight d4 followed by king f8 is good. Queen into f2 sounds tempting, but it's definitely not the way. Rook into f2 is pretty simple. Knight into e8 is pretty simple here. Knight into d3 wins us the piece. Queen g4, queen d1. Oh no, guess I missed out on something there. Queen d1 seemed like it's winning with f3 to follow, but I guess I missed out on something. Or queen h3 may have been simpler. Yeah, I guess we got to stop the queening, and then again once again we queen with a check with the queen on king on c3 there. Here I think rook g4 followed by what exactly? Rook into g2, queen f4 is pretty simple here. Okay, rook f5 is not the way. Maybe g4 just winning the piece was good enough. Rook g8 initiates rook g4 as an idea, and white sacrifices gives his all to try to prevent it, but that doesn't really help. And here we have a perpetual. Rook into e3 followed by rook e1, and knight into e1 minces the piece. Here we have a5, h5, gh5, g6, fg6. Okay, we just got 35 there. Missed on the final one. Let's do one more. And then maybe if you cannot get more than 35, I'll move to some 5-minute puzzle rushes. So let's go. I think knight into a2 is good here. Rook into d8, knight f2, queen f2, rook d7, rook f8, rook g8, bishop c3, bc3, d5, g6, and then d into c4, queen into d6, followed by queen into d3, queen into d2 wins as a piece, queen h4, knight g3, queen h1, queen g5, knight g5, knight g4, knight e3. f4 sounds interesting, but is that a mate? Yeah, knight b4 should be a mate. And rook e2, rook into e4, rook into g4, queen into e5, queen into e8 is pretty simple here. Bishop e4 wins us the piece, and then rook here followed by rook h8. That should win material. Knight g5 wins us the queen, definitely. What do we do here? We should have a mate with bishop e7 and then bishop f3. Queen f8, rook d8 is pretty simple here. B into a3 is good. We win a piece for nothing. Rook g4 followed by queen e7, and then rook f7 is a mate. Knight f4, rook here, and then we just follow queen h1, pick up this queen here. Should be good. I guess we can go with queen c3 and queen c1. I think that's the way. Queen a6 followed by queen c6, queen e8 should be good. Queen into d3, knight into d3, and then fg3. What do we do here? Rook f6, bishop c3, and pick up the rook on h8. Queen e5 looks tempting, but bishop c2 is definitely stronger. What do we do here? Queen h6 is a mate, so that should be good. I think here something like g4 is not really good because we have a mating attack coming. So what is the move? I can just go rook f6. Let's avoid any complications. We're simply winning the pawn in game. Should be good. We just go for the queen. Queening first. Queen e6 followed by bishop b6 is a mate. Well, here I think we go with bishop e8 and then something like bishop d8 should be good. Okay, we missed out on this actually. I missed out on that. What do we do here now? B4 check. Okay, interesting way to get two bishops here. Bishop f4 check followed by queen c2 is good here. Hey, this one seems like rook c3 and rook c8, and after that rook c4. Oh shoot! Oh my! That was a terrible mouse slip there. I was playing rook c8 definitely. King c8, king c6 followed by this, and king c7. I mean, he will play knight c4, so I'll play b7 and then king c7. Seems good to me. And just queen. Okay, here I think rook h3 followed by queen h6, but he has queen d1 check, so maybe I think we have bishop f1 there, so it should be good. And here I think we have reached 39. Maybe we can get 40. Knight f5 followed by queen g4. Okay, this is good. Exchange, and we reach 40. So we'll skip 40 finally. Queen c. Oh, queen c. Oh shoot. Okay. Well, got to 40 finally. We'll do one more. Maybe we can do better than 40. Queen f7, and here queen d1, rook d1, king d8, rook h8, g4, gf5, king g3 is a simple draw here. Knight h1, knight f3 went just to this. Queen g4, queen g7 is a mate. Queen b6 is good here, but maybe we can do better. Okay, we have a check, so queen f6 is forced. Queen g2 sounds tempting. I think that's good. Rook e8 and rook f3, rook h3. Yep, definitely. Knight d7 wins us the exchange. Knight f6, queen g4. Okay, he captures with the queen, so we capture the knight on d7 simply. Queen b3 is a mate here. Rook d3 wins us piece on e3. Well, rook into e6 is a mate threat there, wins us the piece. Pretty simple mate piece winning idea there, followed by rook d8 and just win the piece on d6. Queen e3 check is not possible, so queen into f7, rook f1, once again ending up a piece here. We win the rook on h8 simply, and once again rook c7. A double attack on g7 as well as the queen is good enough here. Here e5 sounds tempting, but knight d5 is falling, so we got to go with something like rook c3 and then just capture. So here I think rook into g2 will not work, so queen g7 pretty simply attacking g2, which is pretty much unstoppable. Queen h3, knight f3, queen f3. Okay, we have rook f4 and rook b4. Yeah, good enough. Bishop a5 sounds tempting with bishop e1, so I think that's good here. Oops, my bad. And just capture the pawn on f2 and then d4. Rook e8 wins us the piece simply on e5. Good enough for us to win. Yep. B into c6 followed by queen g4, exchanging the queens. Rook b8 followed by bishop c6 sounds good here. And we have knight into d6 maybe, followed by rook e8 check. Should be good to win the queen. Knight g5, queen h3, queen e6 is good here. Knight h5 followed by g6. No, maybe rook g2 is even better with bishop g6 as a mate. Rook e7 just giving up the rook on h7, and then queen e7 and queen g7 following immediately is good here. h3 g4 sounds like a mate. Maybe bishop d1 and g4 was better, faster, but I missed out on that. But okay, we can continue. Rook e6, queen f6 is a mate here. Next, what do we do? b4 sounds simple with the rook following back on f1. We just win a piece. Queen into e8 followed by a7 is one way to go about it. Since there are dangerous mating ideas here, I feel like that's definitely the way to go about it. Rook b8, and since a8 would have covered the g2 square, that's good. I think a6, king into d6, a7 is not really good, so we got to defend this pawn and then use this pawn, then give it up and then play d7 there. I think here we can go with what do we do here? I think here we can go with c into d4 and simply win the piece on e5. D into c3 followed by king e2 and rook into a1 sounds good to me. Again, we are in the 40 range. Again, knight a5, knight c4 and knight into d2 is good here. King into d1 definitely is pretty much forced here in my opinion, but queen d1 and defending with d3 is definitely better. Well, I think we just got to 41. We improved our score a little bit here. That's good. Well, now we'll do a 5-minute puzzle rush. We got to 41. This is the best for the day thus far. Let's do a 5-minute puzzle rush. But my best in 5 minutes I think is 52. Maybe I can try easy. So let's try to not make a silly blunder here. d5 followed by queen d1 and we get a back rank mate here. Rook d6, rook f5 wins us the piece. Bishop f7 and bishop e8 wins us the exchange. Good enough here. Queen b2 winning the piece. Queen c8, rook e7 once again here. Queen a4 and queen into b4 wins us the piece. Knight f6 initiates a dangerous mating attack on h7, which is pretty much unstoppable. Rook e5, simple mate here. Tricky, chess.com, queen into e5 here. Knight g5 for queen f1 and then knight g5, queen f7. Well, that's better. And here just capture on g1, pick up the queen with a fork on f3. I think here bishop h5 is seemingly quite tempting, but do we do anything better? Not really. I think bishop h5 is good enough here. g3 traps this rook. Pretty unfortunate for this rook on f2. f4, I mean, my bad. Bishop into d6. Here, I think rook into c5 is good enough. I mean, should we capture? Yep, we need to. And then rook c6 followed by rook b6 would have been good here. I think rook c8 initiates a queening idea here on a8. Now we can just give a check and queen up on there. Rook into g7 followed by bishop f6 picks up the queen on c2. Pretty easy here thus far. Okay, here I think we can give a check first and then pick up the queen on a4. Once again, bishop f2 is destroying white's position there. Here we just go with bishop d4 and we open up a mating idea here on f2. Bishop c6 followed by king d3 is definitely quite strong here. What do we do here? Queen h5 followed by what do we do next? Rook f5 is not really possible. Bishop f5 not really possible. So I think we'll have to go with queen g4 and then open up queen h4. Sounds interesting. Queen c1, bishop a6. Unfortunate for the king on e2 there. Pretty unfortunate, I must say. Queen h1. And here I think bishop h4 is good, or bishop f6. Bishop g5 I think is even better. Let's just go with queen c3 and pick up the e1 rook. I think queen h8 followed by bishop f6 and queen c8. Winning the queen here should be good. Let's give it a shot. I think we got to go with queen d8 for this one. Queen into c1 followed by knight rook f8 and knight g4 and rook c2. I think we are good here. We should be good. Rook c2 and knight into c2. Queen f5 followed by queen f4 sounds pretty interesting. It's quite simple to be honest, but okay. 36 thus far. We are going good. Knight f6 and knight d7, and then queen d4 is coming. So what do we do here? Queen e7, queen e5, knight e5, knight f6. I'm not sure, but let's see. Maybe we go with knight f6. Okay, this is a little bit tricky, and I'm not able to. Okay, we can just capture the piece on g4 for sure. Okay, that one was easy actually. Just wasted some time there. I think here we can go with something interesting. There should be something interesting like rook g2, bishop g2, knight f2, rook f2, and queen f3. Yeah, I think this is good. Knight f2, queen f2 wins us the queen. And here I think, can we pick up the pawn? Yep, we can pick up the piece, and then we are getting the knight back on f3 in time. Here we don't want to get into an unnecessary pinch, so capturing the rook always is better. I think we got to prevent this check somehow. We got to get it done. I think g3 is pretty interesting and the best move indeed. I think rook c1 doesn't really do anything. Queen h4 seems like a good way to exploit this pin, and that's indeed good. Rook f7, well, he goes with the queen here, king here. What do we do after that? Okay, rook g7, not really possible. Okay, we can get the rook to f1 and then knight h5, something like that. I think we're running low on time, but queen f7 is definitely much simpler, so let's not go for anything with rook f7. I think rook f2 and rook c2 and f2 sounds pretty simple here. I mean, he has to give the bishop, and that should be winning. I think we're good here. Okay, he plays just bishop g6. Some tricky mating ideas here, but I think we can ignore them completely because the king goes to f3. Here we can go with bishop f4. No, we first capture on b7 with a check and then pin this queen and then just pick up that piece. I think here we're running low on time, so we got to go a little faster. Knight into d5 is not really working. Rook into e8 and then knight into d5. Okay, well, do we have a mate? Okay, the rook on d7 was hanging, so we had to go with rook into d5 and finish things off. Here I think we're queening faster. Rook h4 followed by knight f3 should be good here. Queen f3 or queen d2. Oh no, queen c1. I don't know which one I missed out, but okay, let's continue. Bishop d4 followed by rook c1 and rook c6. Come on, knight c7. Oh, 48 for the start is actually quite decent. Let's go. Rook into b8. Queen h4 is a mate. d3, king into e3, d2, d1, knight b5, knight d6. Oh no, I did not capture that pawn clearly. Queen into e6 was the way to go. Queen into queen into 1. And here we have queen h1 followed by rook g2, rook d2, queen to d7, queen f7, knight f3, rook d2, and queen c3, rook a8 followed by knight d3, knight h6, queen f5, bishop h2, queen d3, Rook d2 pinch this queen and we simply win it. Rook f4, good double attack there. Knight into e7, rook into a5 and just the piece. Queen into a4 is pretty simple, just winning the queen. Rook g7, 96, 98, indeed. Do we really need this check though? Maybe we do, maybe we do. We do, definitely we do. Knight g3 followed by rook f1, queen g1 and queen h1 here. Rook d6 wins us the queen for absolutely nothing. c3 and c into b2 followed by rook a6 is good. Rook a1 check followed by queen d6 check followed by queen d5 and queen into e4 is definitely winning. Queen d7, dc5, dc cb6, fg. But this, maybe this is better. Winning the rook is always better than winning the piece. So yeah, 98. I think queen h8, queen d8, d5, df6 wins us the rook. Queen g5 followed by, well, queen a5. We can capture the piece somehow, but can we do better? What do we do here? There's one rook e8 check followed by queen e, queen g8, queen g7, which is also tempting. Yeah, I think that is the best move indeed. Well, no, not really. Okay, what did I miss? I don't know. But okay, let's continue. What do we do here? Rook f1 is not possible. Okay, maybe. Okay, this is a little interesting. Guess I'm missing out on something here. Well, it's that simple. It's just going for queen e8 and rook e7. It looks like that. I mean, we do have a lot of material, so I think that should be the way to go. Tricky one there. I think rook f6 is good here. And we just win the rook. Here I think rook c6 should be good enough to win with knight e7, knight c6 to follow as a fork. Knight e3 is very tempting because rook d1 is a mating idea, but it doesn't work. So we got to go with bishop into f2 first and then go with knight e3. And now it's a forced idea here. Okay, queen g6 followed by knight g3 is something, the kind of thing that should be working here. We have queen b1 also as a mating idea, so he gives up the queen and we're good enough there. Queen f3. Yep, I think so. Okay, we got to capture. Tricky there again. Once again, chess.com. Knight f followed by rook h5 is a mate immediately. f3, f2 is pretty much unstoppable. Not really, as bishop h6 coming, so we got to look for something better. Just capture the bishop on c1 and then we win the piece. Rook into d7 followed by queen e5 initiates a double attack both on g7 and b8 and simply wins us some material. c2 queen a4 and followed by capturing the bishop on f4 looks good to me. Prevents f7 too. Here I think bishop d2 is met with queen c5 check, so b4 is the way to go. Just improvising. Queen e1 check, queen e3 check followed by queen f4. Oh, he does go with the king to h3. Do we have something after that? Ooh. Or are we happy with the draw here? Not really. I think we have rook d1. There's no immediate idea. I think this should be good. Yeah, and this doesn't really help him in any way. I think this is good. Rook g1, king here. I mean, is rook f2 better? Maybe rook f2 is better. Maybe simpler. Is it? Not really, and that's exactly where I went wrong. I think rook g1 followed by queen h5 was better here. Maybe rook g1. Let's just go back. Can we go back here? Yep. Rook g1. Oh shoot, it doesn't allow me to play the move. But king e2 and queen h5, and there we have a mate on d1 to follow. So yeah, that was good. Let's go for the next one. Key 1, bishop c4, bishop e3, queen f1, rook f7, queen g7. Here I think rook d8 is good. Queen into h1, g6, g3, rook h5, queen c2, queen b2, g3, queen f4, rook h4, rook g7, and rook h6. Bishop g4, queen g4. Here I think rook something should be good. How do we trap this queen? Well, knight c4 and then rook d3 to follow. Now son bishop e6 wins us the piece. Queen to a5 is quite simple here. Queen to c8. Here I think queen d6 is good, followed by queen h2 and just pick up the rook on h7. Pretty simple. queen g1, and then the standard mating idea here, standard tactical idea here, my bad. Knight e2, queen into h2, and rook h6, flanked. Rook e5 followed by rook h4 is good here. Queen e3 looks interesting, but rook e2 is even stronger. Queen e3 followed by mate pretty soon. f6 traps this bishop. Pretty unfortunate for that bishop on g5 there. Rook e8 initiates some dangerous mating ideas here. Rook f2, bishop f4, and that should be made pretty soon there. Surprisingly, queen f5 is a mate immediately. Queen e5 followed by queen h8. Yep, seems good to me. Queen into f2 looks good, but maybe rook into f2 is even better. Here I think we should go with something like queen a1 knight c4 and pick up this hanging unfortunate queen on g7. Bishop c6 followed by bishop d7 looks pretty simple, and indeed it is. Let's go. Queen h3 followed by queen f3. Yep. What do we do here? Knight e6, rook d4 looks good. Maybe here I go with queen into c3 and just two diagonals of the bishop, pretty strong. Rook a8, rook d8, bishop g5, capture the bishop on h4. I mean the rook on h4, my bad. Knight into f6 followed by knight into d3 and then queen into f6. The right move order is very important here. Queen h8 looks tempting, but is there anything better? Something like bishop d5? Not really, I don't think so. But queen h8, I don't know if it's really working. Maybe I'm missing out on something simpler. Bishop f2. What am I missing out on actually? Oh, bishop g1. Yes, I'm missing out on bishop g1 for sure there. Go with h5 maybe. Yep. h6, h7. Here I think fg6 followed by king h2 is good, and g7 followed by g8 queen. Knight g5 is something that's interesting here, an interesting blunder for sure. So not knight g5 for sure. Yeah, maybe something better. Maybe something like queen d5 is good here. There's knight into f4 followed by knight into f4 coming. Maybe queen d5 is good here. Maybe I go with knight g5 now, then pick up the queen e8 and then pick up the knight on the queen on h3, my bad. Queen e8, queen into d7, rook into g2 is good here. Ah, the sneaky trap. Rook g1, rook into e2, there is rook into c6, so we are ending up a piece down here. Which is better though? Queen into d6 first. Move order once again, pretty important. Knight into f3 followed by bishop g2 is pretty simple. Knight into e1 followed by knight c2. Bishop g4 followed by queen f2 or queen c1 is definitely winning here. And then queen into e3. Okay. Bishop b4, knight c3. Okay, this one should be easy. Knight into a2. Knight into a2 should be good. Here I think we should go with what exactly? Rook into d3, rook a4. I think rook a4 looks like not the move, so maybe just capture on d3. Not sure actually what I missed out on. Maybe queen c6 or something I missed out on. But okay, I think we're almost up at time here. 44 is what we achieved. And 48 still I'm on the top of the leaderboard here. For the hourly, of course, not for the entire thing. But yeah, that's quite good. That's good. Let's see what we can do more. Let's do one more. Rook f1. Okay, bishop h2 is definitely forced. Rook h1 is a mate. Try to get to 50 maybe. Queen f7. Queen h2, queen h1. Knight e2, knight c3. Here knight h3. Knight d5, queen h4, knight g6, queen h8, rook. Oh, should I queen with a check there? Pretty unfortunate. Queen g2 is a mate. Queen d4, knight b3, queen c3, knight f5, knight f5, and e5, 4 rook h5, cb6, bfi, king c5. Here I think we just play king d3. Rook into c8, going into d4. Rook e4, e2 is good here. Rook b7, bishop e4 looks good to me. e5 or bishop g5 definitely better, trapping the queen immediately. And here just go rook 8. Oh shoot, mouse slip there. Okay, just capture the pawn on a2. 50 will be very difficult from here on, but we'll give it a shot. I think knight into e6, queen into f6 is good. Here we can just go rook h, rook g3, and there's a mate idea force there. Queen h5, queen into e2. Looks good to me. Queen d8 is definitely not winning, but this is simply winning a rook on b8, and here rook into f7 should be good, but do we have something better? I think rook e8 and queen d4 is even stronger here. We just go for the mate straight away. Okay, what is the mate here? Is it rook e5 or is it queen g4? It's definitely queen g4 followed by rook e6, rook h7. Here I think we should capture with the queen, or with the knight. I think with the queen. And I think queen g6 is good here, winning the piece on g4. King h8 traps that queen on h6, so this wins us material. Queen g3. Well, there's a queen d4 coming here, so maybe I got to look for something better. Now what would that be? Okay, this is a little difficult. I'm missing something simple here. Oh, maybe you can play e5 after the queen comes to d4, so that should be good. Maybe the queen transfers to a3, so rook h8 and then queen a3 followed by queen d6. King d6 pretty much forced. I think b6. We just capture and push c5 should be good. Should I rotate the queen all the way back to d1 here? Or is there something better I'm missing out? Well, I cannot afford any mistake here, so it would be terrible to make a blunder and finish this at normal 32. But I feel like queen d1 is the way to go here. Just capture back with the rook and pawn, and that should be good here. Bishop b5 and then bishop c4 is good here. And this rook is completely jammed in, so let's just exchange one pair and just keep just pushing this pawn. Should we take with the bishop, or well, we gotta take with the bishop for sure. Here also knight f4 initiates a strong mating idea on e2, so should be good to win. Well, he does get out somehow, so how do we keep it going? I think here maybe we go with definitely not queen d1, but queen f3 looks tempting with rook d1 is an idea. I think we're good with queen f3. Queen into d1. I think we got to capture here first, because play e5, he'll play bishop c7 and use that pin. So we got to play bishop d6 and then e5 and capture on f6. Queen c2 looks good to me. Oh no, queen c2 was not indeed good, but I felt like queen c2 should have been winning. Maybe queen e5 was better. This just traps the knight on c7 because the knight has absolutely no square to go to, so that would have been better. Maybe after queen c2 he just captures and plays rook c3 and he's doing okay, actually maybe even better. So queen e5 would have been good. So I'll just be back in a couple of minutes, so stay tuned. Just take a short break here. Okay, hopefully everybody can hear me now. Queen a4 and queen into b4. Completely forgot that I muted the mic. Rook into a2 followed by rook a8. I think here queen c4 followed by queen into e2. Queen into g3. I mean queen into b6 followed by knight into f1. There queen b5 is a mate immediately. Bishop h7. Okay, bishop g7, rook f7, and then queen g6 is good. G5, G4, G3, and we enter a winning pawn in game. Queen into C5 followed by knight E6. Knight into C5 is winning here, I think. Hopefully the voice is clear enough. And yeah, this annoying filter getting in my way. Okay. A little bit of a Yankee setup here. Let's go. Bishop into E2 is not really good. So do it here. Okay, I've done this pretty slowly. I just capture the queen maybe. Let's see, 20 seconds to make it large. Let's see what we can do. Oops. No, 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 no. I got to at least 30. F6. Okay, bishop b3 would have been better. Okay, 30 is what I get after this. Yes, Sarah, I corrected it. I mean, the mic was the issue. Thank you for being on the stream. Appreciate the support. Rook d1. Knight into g4. d1 queen. Rook into d1 followed by bishop e5. Rook c8. Rook g8. Knight e5. Bishop into d7. Bishop into e6. Queen f8 as a mate here. Bishop into f7. Queen rook into h6 and queen h8. Queen c8, queen c2, queen g4, queen d4, bishop d5, knight f3 followed by king g7, and queen a6 is not really good because rook a8 is much faster. Oh, sorry, queen a6. Some mouse slips here. Queen into e4, knight into d5 is good enough here. Bishop g5 traps the queen straight away. Here we go with rook a8, which is a immediate mate. Queen c1, queen d1 also is a mate, and then queen h6 wins us material. Queen g7. Let's try to do some symphony here. D into e4. Bishop into e5 followed by bishop c7, and then rook into e5 wins us some material. Here I think we just go with knight e7 followed by queen into f5 if I'm not wrong, but knight b6 is definitely better. Rook e8, well, rook e8 or rook e8, well, rook e8 definitely. Oh, sorry, my bad. Yes, the board resizes it's on its own for some reason here. Okay, I think we are good. Rook e8, rook a8 and rook into e5 is good here. Bishop h3 followed by rook g1, good enough. D into c3 and then pass and check followed by cb2 and then rook b3, good enough for us to win. Definitely. Bishop e3 sounds good to me, but queen d7 looks even better. Winning the piece straight away. Bishop into c3, winning a piece after rook e3 followed by bishop d2 is pretty much done deal. Bishop into f6 or knight into d4. Definitely knight into d4, winning the queen there, followed by rook g8, simply winning. Well, the king is very vulnerable here, but not vulnerable enough to be mated, so this idea works pretty much in our favor. Bishop e3 followed by king d3. This time the king is really vulnerable there. I think e3, e2 should be good, but do we have anything better like ef3 followed by queen e3, up into ef3 followed by queen e3 and queen d4 is even better. Rook f8 initiates a strong mating idea on f5 here, which is good enough for us to win. Well, queen e8, knight e6 looks like it's winning and indeed should be winning. Here I think we have, what do we have? We have to move the king or bring the rook back, and rook back was not the way to go because rook into d5 followed by queen d4 would be losing us the piece, and that's exactly what I fell for. Hopefully you don't and you solve your puzzle rushes. Bishop d3 and then d into c5 looks like the way to go, but rook into c5 indeed loses material anyways. I think though we can go with this and play queen e4, and that initiates a dangerous 2 pawns which should be winning for us. I think here d6 followed by d7 is pretty simple because knight on f6 pokes that king and rook, and we win one of the pieces. Well, 37 is what we get, and I think now we'll do some puzzle survival mode. So we have been solving quite a lot of the fast puzzle rushes, and Nandini will be joining us for this puzzle survival. So the both of us will solve it together and see what we can do. We'll try to aim for a high score, and I'll just open up the screen. Let's wonder. I wonder who has the best record in puzzle survival. Well, if you go to see the all-time record, we have 216 by another fellow Indian who is also a GM, which is Murli Karthikeyan. There's a guy from the US, Spicy Caterpillar, and Nandini is here, by the way. She's in the stream and she's out of focus, so I'm going to draw her inside. Please join the stream, Nandi. Yeah, I think she's in the frame, and everything seems good, and we can see that 216 is the highest here thus far. I mean, let me just extend it and show it to you. But this one is the one. Oops, sorry, my bad.
Make it big for a moment, there's no issue there.
Just like to show you, like, so you can, as you can see on the screen here, Spicy Caterpillar Exotic Prince is 109. Then there is some guy from Brazil who has got 106. Then there's another WCM from India who has got 103, which is quite interesting. So we are also targeting something in the range of 100. Let's see where we can go to today. We're trying to get to the high score, but let's see what we have in store. Let me just resize this back. Is this good?
Yeah, should be good.
So yeah, let's get started. Actually, the initial ones are easy, and we should be getting, we'll try to get to a decent score. The goal is 100 definitely. Let's see what we can do. Are you ready, Nandi?
Yes. What has been your highest score?
Well, I think I got to end this one because we have a puzzle survival already going on by me. But we'll start with a new one now, and my highest score I think has been 60 or something.
Surely not really 60.
I really don't know.
Mine has been 62, so yours got to be more.
I'm not really sure of the record, I don't know. But let's start.
You rook into a5.
The initial ones will be pretty easy, so it shouldn't be too difficult. I think this one is just rook into a5. Here there is unlimited time and unlimited time for explanation, so we'll try to make it as instructive.
Knight c2.
Knight c2 is a simple mate here because there's no way the king can escape. Okay.
Oops, again?
Sorry. Just changing some settings there. I think here we just capture the rook and then give a mate on c8, right?
Yep.
Queen and C8. The queen on c8. Hopefully you like the animations that are ongoing here. This is the first time I'm seeing them. Here this king seems quite vulnerable on g7, right, Nandi? Like, how do you think we should exploit it?
Queen at 6 first.
And then after the king goes down here, like,
even bishop d3 should work.
Bishop d3 opening up some ideas for this rook to lift to the other side. Also exchanging this bishop will open rook h3. I think that looks good, right? Do you think it's better than playing bishop h3 though?
Yeah, I think first playing the move queen at 6 is required, so the king is on g8 and it doesn't allow black to play rook h8. Okay,
let's play queen at 6. I think this is pretty much going to be the move, and that is not what we wanted. We wanted to show some explanations, but chess.com has other ideas. But we'll come back to that problem later actually. Can we go back right now?
No, after the survival it'll be possible to go back.
Okay. She is very well versed with this, and after the survival we'll be able to go back to this. She has been doing quite a lot of puzzle rushes and puzzle battles, puzzle survivals on her streams on Twitch. So you can definitely check out her Twitch channel.
Okay, this is a
I think this is just a one move mate on g7, and everybody will be quite happy about this one. A pretty simple one to give us a boost. Let's move on. I think again a back rank exploitation here. So queen f1 For rook into f1 simply delivers a mate here. D into c5. I like the animations, don't you, Nandi? I'm using this for the first time accidentally, that
I
too.
actually didn't know that we had such animations on chess.com.
Yeah, even I wasn't really aware. I clicked on it accidentally and it worked out fine. What do we do here now? I think we have to exploit something relating to
Could you
this,
go a
right?
bit that side? Just
Indeed.
okay. Yeah, queen b.
Is
Yeah,
this comfortable for you?
yeah. Queen b5 check,
Queen b5 exploiting the
and
king
yeah,
and the knight on a5
knight
seems like...
c6, queen into b7. That is important, right?
Yeah.
So
Let's
then
move it one by
again,
one. So queen b5 puts a double attack on e8 and a5, and he just plays c6 where we just capture the knight. But if he had gone knight c6, we would have captured on b7 and given a double attack on a8 as well as c6, which was good enough for us to win. But since he plays c6, we just pick up the knight on a5.
this is again a back rank checkmate.
Okay, so, well, seemingly just attacking the queen, so we can capture the pawn on f2, right? And
Yeah.
after capturing the pawn on f2, we again have the idea of playing queen f1, once again a standard idea to exploit the weak back rank. This one seems like it's
Yeah,
easy.
have to win the black queen.
Yes, I mean the queen is in a vulnerable state here. That's why you don't play moves like f6 early in the opening, unless it's pretty necessary. And here exactly we see the reason why such a thing can be detrimental sometimes. And here, that's exactly the way we win the queen simply. Well, the problem seems to be increasing with difficulties as we go along. It's pretty easy right now. What do we do here, Nandi?
Win a piece. It's a fork.
Once
Knight
again, the
fork,
knights
so
are pretty good in the center and brilliantly placed here. The knight on e4 is going to deliver a check on d6. Black just played the move c5 here, which left the square go. That's why we should see that Black should try to get his king to safety first before doing a move like c5. There are certain exceptions though, but here after c5, white just simply gets knight d6
yeah. So
check.
basically, the thing is, when your king's in the center, you do not try to open a center.
Exactly, yes.
So
That's a
that's what
simple
he
way to
was
put
doing.
it out. And he has a better explanation. When the king is the center, you don't try to open up the center unnecessarily. And we just pick up the piece. And once again here, we have a simple way to exploit something here. The knight on f2 is first of all pinned and defending e4. Now there are two possible ways we can go about this position. Can you highlight the ways, Nandi? Can you tell me
Okay.
the...
First of all, I would like to mention it would be nice to capture king into e4 because the knight is pinned, but
Yes.
it's not possible.
It's not possible because of
Yeah.
a check, and the rules of chess do not permit us
Yeah.
to do something like
Otherwise,
king into
if it
e4.
was not a king, if it was some other piece, and you could definitely capture e4. So yeah. First of all, you just get rid of the defender. The rook is defended just by one piece, that is a knight. So get rid of the defender and then capture the rook. So rook into f2 is my move over here. Rook into f2, king into f2, and king into e4.
King into e4, is it?
Yeah.
I remember this one time when I was playing a blitz and somebody played something like king into f4, offering the king for free because it was a blitz. And the rules that time stated that if you make an illegal move and you do not claim it, you tend to lose the game. So this cheeky opponent of mine played something as giving the king. Fortunately, I saw it and I claimed the result to be a win, but that is only going to happen in blitz. Clearly, somebody in classical would notice it. Well, the two ways to continue for for black are bishop d4, trying to exploit the spin. The problem with that is the rook comes to f4 and defends this knight on f2. So the better way to go is just pick up this defender on f2 directly and then capture the king, the rook on e4. Now, again, this is a situation where black has exposed his king.
What exactly do you call this? Or do you call it? I mean, some people say a fork, some people say double attack. So, what exactly do you say to such? I mean, when you it's actually a fork and a double attack. So, I think they do mean pretty much the same thing, right?
I'm not very well versed with that actually. I'm not really sure if you call it a fork or a double attack, but for me, it's just picking up a piece.
Yeah,
I
piece
just
that
try
is
to.
hanging. Yeah, but a fork
I feel
also
like a double
means.
attack is makes much more sense here because a fork is generally only considered for the knight, although I may be completely
No, a
off
fork
here.
is also considered for a pawn. So, it's a pawn fork, a knight fork.
I used to always deem it to be a double attack, and only uh, when it's a knight, I took it to be a fork, but I may be completely off here. So I may be off here completely, but yeah.
Yeah, so here the bishop in c5 is hanging, so we have to pick it up. So we give a check, queen h5.
So this is a nice way to give a check. Once again, exploiting the weak positioning of pieces here. The king is
And
exposed and the bishop on
yeah, and
c5 is
again,
undefended.
to mention, there's no f pawn. If black did have the pawn on f7, this was not going to happen.
Exactly. The early move, f pawn move, is one of the reasons why black's position is falling apart here. And after queen h5, we just pick up the piece on c5, simply winning a piece here. Now black just played the move e5, trying to open up this bishop, give some bishop some breathing room here, and that's exactly what we got to exploit because he's a little slow and something is pretty weak for him
Yeah,
still.
white is up in development, and black also has a back rank weakness which we have to exploit.
Exactly.
So, yeah, keeping this away. Yeah. Rook d1,
But rook d1 does the job
forcing the
because
queen
the
to
king
move.
on e8. Again, once again, we have seen a pattern of examples here where the king is pretty weak, and here exactly once again an example where the back rank for the king is weak. So instead of going with something like e5, opening up a flight square with h6 or something may have been a better choice. I'm not sure if it helps in neutralizing the position or equalizing the position, but could have been a better choice to deal with rook d1 as a possibility. Maybe a better move would be to go with the queen back directly so that the queen can hide behind his own pawns and then black can think about development. If you go to see, black is actually 2 pawns up here,
Yep.
which is quite a big deal actually. But surprisingly, after e5, what black tried in the game, rook d1 finishes things up because rook d8 is a forced mate here. Like moving on. Once again,
Now this is a knight fork.
exactly, we are going for a knight fork here, but not directly with knight d4 definitely. That's not a good trade because rook d6, knight e2 doesn't really help us. So what we can do is we can just capture the rook on e6, bring the king to e6, and we see king on e6 and rook on e2. Wherever you see a knight and such placement of pieces, rook on c2, rook on b5, you should be aware of such possibilities or try to generate such possibilities in your game. Here knight d4 and knight e2 just simply wins us the rook. Nice position there. Now once again, how do we exploit this? Again the king on g1 is exposed, again the pawn on f2 is missing, but here we have to also consider that black's king is equally exposed here. What do you think we should do here, Nandi?
I think we have to act pretty fast over here.
Exactly, our king is
We
pretty
don't
vulnerable.
have we don't really have any moves which we could plan out because our king's really at a bad spot. So we will have to act fast. So considering the forced moves, bishop into d4.
Bishop to d4, is
Yeah.
it? Yeah, seemed like it came to my mind. So after c takes d4,
Queen into d4, and then the rook on a1 is hanging.
the rook on a1 is
If
hanging.
we could
Exactly, we have a
just
nice double attack
we
here,
could
and
park it and show it.
exactly,
Yeah.
yes, we can just play it out actually. Bishop into d4 is a good way. There is no other good way because black's king is quite weak here. Maybe knight f6 is an idea for white. Maybe he tries to open with e6 or queen g5. There are a number of multitude of ideas here for white. Black cannot also castle. That would have been lovely to castle and get his king to safety. But since that is not possible, black should look for something more aggressive and active here. Bishop d4 fulfills the point here because after queen d4, we have an attack on d5, as you can see. A1 as well as the king is checked here. So white cannot deal with all three possibilities at once. If he moves the king, we can capture either the rook or the knight, which both should be winning, or we can even get this rook to h1 and try something interesting.
I think queen into a1 is very simple.
It's the simplest thing. Is like
Yeah.
Randy says, the simple way is the best way, and queen into a1 definitely fulfills it, which is simply win material. We cannot try it out on the board because I think that doesn't really work. But
Doesn't
knight
work.
e3 is the way white continues, for which we just capture back on a1. Sorry about that. Queen into a1 simply wins us some exchange. And after e6 here, Nandi, how do we exploit it? Once again, the queen on g4 is a little bit vulnerable, and the king on g1.
Yeah, but
We got to
this
use this to our benefit, right?
actually looking at the position one, it's not very easy to realize that the queen is vulnerable on g4 because he's a lot up in material. He has got so many passed pawns. But
Exactly. A
yes,
queen and 4 pawns should definitely be stronger than.
yeah. But the point is, we have a rook battery over here, and the f file is black, so we should definitely make use of it. And yes, of course, the white king is open, so that is the bonus that we have: open file and the white king. So should be rook f1.
Should be rook f1, is it? And after king g2,
Then rook 8 f2.
then the king goes to h3,
Rook h1.
king g3.
Rook g1.
Excellent
And
here,
take the
90's
queen.
excellent showcase of a good line here, which wins for us. So we'll go ahead and I'll highlight the line to you. So we just go with rook f1, king goes to h2,
That's
We
the
just
same.
go with
Get
the
this rook here.
rook from f8 to f2, and the king immediately comes to g3. It wouldn't make a difference if the king goes to h3. We just give a check on h1, and once again the king comes back to g3, and our idea prevails, which is rook g1,
G1.
right? And just quick up this rook, and then we should be winning the game after that.
Okay, as you say, a double attack now. The bishop on b4 is hanging.
Again, we
so
have a situation where the king is out in the open and the bishop on b4 is unprotected. Unprotected pieces are always vulnerable, and here we see another explanation of it, because after queen b5, a double attack here on b4 and e8, and we simply pick up the bishop here. We have a simple mating pattern here. So what do you think we should do here, Nandi?
this one is a checkmate in 2 moves.
Exactly. So the king is again pretty vulnerably placed, and white just played the move g3, which is the most. This is the worst thing you can do without a bishop being on g2. White was hoping that the bishop on b7 would return to g2 just in time to help defend his position on the king side, but without the bishop on g2, there already there on g2, you will always have some difficulties, and that's exactly what we see with g3. It's a terrible blunder, and how do we exploit it, Nandi?
You take advantage of the light squares. So
Exactly.
bishop
So
f3.
bishop f3 fulfills the purpose, and after this we just get this mating pattern with knight h3, and the king had nowhere to go. Well, what do we do here, Nandi? Again,
Again, this
yes,
is a
the king
knight
is
move.
all the problems thus far have been dealing with the king. The king is vulnerably placed on g1 here, and I think we can definitely exploit it. We can, right? Can't we?
Yep.
We can, right? Yes. So definitely look for a way to exploit it, please. Or can we do something even simpler? Like,
I think it should be rook into h2.
oh, you wanted to rook into h2 here, okay?
Yeah.
And if king into h2?
Knight f3.
Okay, knight f3. So what knight does is, instead of going for something like knight f3 and trying to fix some mating ideas here, which I will highlight in a moment later, rook into h2 just simply picks up this knight, king into h2, followed by knight f3, and we just get knight into d4 here, which simply wins us the rook and probably the game after that. So rook into h2, knight f3 check, followed by knight d4, and we are simply a piece up, which is good enough for us to win the game here. So if you go back to the previous problem, we
Now we
cannot really go
cannot go
back to the
back.
previous problem, otherwise I would have shown it. Here again the king on h6 is vulnerable, and once again a situation where white does need to act fast, right? Because
Yeah.
he's already a bishop and a pawn down here.
Yeah. So this
Keeping
is.
that in mind, maybe you can look for an idea for white.
Well, the bishop, I don't think we are interested in the bishop right now. I mean, we can easily pick up the bishop, but it's not going to help us. So
Exactly.
we want to take advantage of black's king.
Exactly, like I
So
said, the black has an extra pawn on d4 on top of the bishop, so going for the
yeah,
bishop maybe would not be as helpful. So what do you think we should do here, Nandi?
this should be a mate in 3.
Mate in 3, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So queen f6 check
Queen
first.
f6 check forces
Force
the
the
king
king,
to
yeah.
h5,
And then
and
g.
now we could pick up the bishop on a6, but Nandi has something even better because we are also a pawn down, so she's much faster with her move. What do you think we should do?
g4.
g4, and trying to exploit the king, targeting the king immediately.
Yeah. And queen h6.
And your majesty is checkmated on h4 there, which is beautiful to see. Let's move on. Knight h5 does a serious attacking problem here on f6 here. White has a dangerous attack brewing, but there is one problem for him. His queen is in my territory and I'm not allowing it to escape. And what do we think we should do here, Nandi?
Trap the queen.
Trap the queen, exactly. The queen on d6, too aggressive and too flamboyant, but unfortunately not successful, and gets trapped with rook e6 immediately here. For knight f6, what do we do here, Nandi? Do we ignore it and play something like king f7? Would that be good? Trying to trap the queen?
No, this queen into d7 after
Exactly, the knight on f6, unfortunately. Well, white sacrifices his horse to get something going here. Knight f6, what it does is it attacks the d7 bishop, so we have to
that.
capture an
Rook,
f6.
rook into f6.
So rook into f6 is the way, because queen into f6 would be met with queen into d7 here. Let's just clear these arrows. How do we do that?
Click on any other square.
Okay, we click on any other square. So queen into f6 would allow queen into d7. And we cannot move the king because again queen into d7 is a possibility. So rook into f6 is pretty much force. This helps white escape with the queen with queen into e5.
But we won a piece.
But we win a piece, yes. What next?
This one should be related to pass pawns. We have a pass pawn on e5.
Okay.
So push it.
Push it, is it?
Yeah, just push it.
Okay, let's push it. He comes to
Again, I
c7
keep
maybe.
pushing it. I keep pushing it.
You want to keep pushing it, is
Yeah,
it? Maybe you
because
could come.
my rook is cutting off the black king, so I can just keep pushing my pawn.
Okay, well,
And
Nandi says that we should be pushing the pawn continuously here, which is interesting. She has an idea which we'll highlight now, and e6 is what she's saying. So if the king comes to c7 supposedly, then we could just push the pawn because there's nothing stopping us from reaching the queening square, and then queen against a rook, a knight and bishop is definitely stronger. So black just sacrifices his knight, and we just pick up the knight, and we have an exchange up here, which should be good enough to win. Well, here, what do you think we should be doing?
here again, you call it a double attack. Yeah, so first of all, trade rooks, rook into d1. I mean, that's just a direct answer I'm telling you. Because if there was no rook on c1 and no rook on d8, we had bishop c2 and the knight and the rook are attacked.
Exactly. So,
So we trade rooks. Our d rook, which we did not want on the board, we traded for his d1 rook. His other rook comes to d1, and we play bishop c2. It's a double attack, and we can win the knight, and we will be having an extra bishop on the board.
exactly. So, rook into d1, a pretty simple solution here by Nandi. Rook into d1, followed by bishop c2, forking the knight and the rook. The other way around. The knight and the rook, and we win some material because white cannot keep defending both the pieces, and then we just pick up this knight on b3, winning material and the game. Well, here,
Yeah, this is a position where we have to act fast. I think we have already sacrificed a rook. Meaning white has sacrificed a rook.
indeed.
So we got to act very fast. And here we go for another sacrifice, which is followed by a mate.
What do
So
you think we should be doing here?
we should be playing rook into e6.
Rook into e6. What if he captures f into e6?
Then queen g7 is a checkmate.
Queen g7 is it, and if the king goes here we can just capture the rook on
Yeah, a
e8 and we
discovered
can
check.
indeed win some material. So rook into e6 followed by rook into e8, and we just win the queen on d8, which should be good enough for us to win. Moving on. Well, the problems are slightly increasing in difficulty as we go along, right? Don't you think
Yeah,
so?
they are increasing in
Slightly in
difficulty.
difficulty, yeah.
Yeah, so here I think we just again win a piece with a pawn fork. I call it a pawn fork, but you could also call it a double attack.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't really make much of a difference as long as you know the correct move. That doesn't make much of a difference. So the pawn fork that you're talking about is f5, forking the queen
Yeah, I
and the
can
knight,
just
right?
win the knight. Though my king does become weak, but I think
I think
it's
there is nothing immediately that white can
yeah,
do which will create a problem. There is one thing that he can do is queen d1.
queen d1, but I would just capture the knight there.
You would just capture the knight, and that's exactly the point. The point of queen d1 was to come to d5, which I'll highlight in a moment. But the rook on h5 does a good job of preventing that queen from coming
Exactly.
further to d5, which is quite good. So f5 also is really good because the g6 pawn is defended, and that's also quite important, isn't it, Nandi?
Yep.
So f5, and he goes with queen f3, where we just capture f into e4, and it should be good enough for us to win. Well, he goes with rook e4 here, and here again we have a simple way to exploit this. What do you think we should be doing here, Andy?
We become an exchange up in this position.
Well,
So yeah. Okay, the point is could you remove the arrow?
exactly,
Yeah.
I can definitely remove the arrow, Andy.
Um
Thank you for supporting me there with the arrow.
uh the the pawn is the only piece. I can't don't call it a piece. What do you call it? The only chessman. I don't know what to use. I'll just call it a piece. The
Okay,
pawn is the only piece protecting the rook over here.
yeah,
So we get rid of the pawn with a check.
with the check, is it? So, what do you want to do? You want to sacrifice or something? Like, keep it interesting?
I want to play knight into
Knight into
d5.
d5, is it brilliant? Yes, knight into d5 takes away the defender for the e4 rook, and we win an exchange. A combination coming along the way. Rook into e4 wins us the exchange. Pretty nice, and thus far we have not made a single mistake, but problems will keep getting difficult as we go along. At the current level, I think we are at 1405, the rating, the difficulty of the problem. These problems will keep going and higher and higher and higher. We started with 100 and now we have 1405, so that's a huge bump, and we'll keep going higher. So it's going to get difficult, and we are 26 at the moment. Let's hope that we can get as high as possible. What do you think we should be doing here, Andy, next?
So here again, I think it is going to go to pawn double attack pawn fork.
Exactly. How do you get it going, though?
Knight f2 first.
The queen will probably reach back to h5, right?
Yeah, but that's a point of it because the rook is on f5, so I could go with g4 after that.
Oh, yeah, that's smart. That's smart, and that's exactly what we highlight here. G4 forks the queen and the rook, and then we just pick up the rook on h5, which is quite nice here. Well, moving on, how do you think we should go about this? Once again, the king on a2 is vulnerable, but we have to also consider that we are two pieces down at the moment here, two bishops down, which would be pretty devastating in other circumstances. But here the white's king is completely exposed, so we got to exploit it probably, right?
Yeah, this one is again nice. A rook sacrifice.
Well, how do you do it?
Rook a6 check
Rook
first.
a6 check, the king goes back to a1, does b1, doesn't it?
Yeah, then I play rook a1 check.
I capture and then
Queen a3 check.
yes, Nandi is absolutely on point here. Rook a6 check, nothing can interfere because that doesn't make big difference. You just capture the rook on a5. The king goes to b1 and she says
Yeah,
rook a1 check. Trying
basically I'm
to
forcing it. I'm forcing
forcing the variation.
So,
Other
yeah.
way to continue would be queen a3. But the problem, as I said, white is definitely having two bishops established with rook a1, followed by queen a3, and a mate on b2 follows by
Queen b2.
force. Okay, so rook goes to h2 here, Nandi. What do you think we should be doing here? It's an endgame position where black can do something simple, or maybe he can go for something faster. Now, what do we do here, Nandi?
I would want to go f3.
F3 is it?
Yeah.
I would have preferred to go with something as simple as king e7, and
king
just
f6,
play king
yeah.
f6 and pick up the pawn. But unfortunately, white gets h6.
And
And after king f3, maybe something like rook h5 and he can get some defense going. Or after king e7, he can go with rook h4 and try to pick up the pawn on f4 and try for some equality here. So Nandi has something better, which is f3, giving up the pawn.
But the point is, I want to actually make use of my e pawn, make it a pass pawn.
Exactly.
But after e into f3, I can't really push the pawn. So I want to push the pawn. So after e into f3, I will sacrifice my rook
to deflect the rook.
Yes.
Yeah. Before we come back to that, if white refuses to take this pawn on f3, something like king g1, we can just push f2 and that pawn becomes a very strong pawn on f2 there. It's pretty strong, almost close to queening, and some dangerous ideas for black to deal for white to deal with. Black can also have something like rook into h5, rook into h5 followed by fe2, and some interesting tactics going on in the game there, so that's quite good. But after e takes f3, we just go with rook takes h5. This pinch the rook and the king and opens up the possibility of e2.
The f5 pawn, the d6 pawn, I mean, they also
create a big problem here for white, because that shields the rook from coming back towards e5, and the d6 pawn does a good job of holding and keeping an eye on the e5 square. So after e2, there is no way that white can prevent the queening of the pawn, and that's exactly what happens here, and the game is over for white. Here again, what do you think we should be doing?
It's a sacrifice.
Yeah,
it's a mate because white's king is really weak if you do consider, because black does have the open edge file. But the thing is, black has not really castled. His king is in the center, but is pretty much safe for the timing at least.
Yeah.
So we take advantage of our. Let's say the g4 pawn is pretty strong there, even though it's not protected at the moment.
Yeah. So how do you take advantage?
We actually make use of the open. Let's say it's almost an open edge file.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. So rook into h2. That is a rook sacrifice. And after king into h2, we have queen h8 check.
Queen h8 check. Wow.
Yeah.
What a backward move there.
So after king g2, king g3, we have queen h3, and that will be a checkmate.
That's a mate. A beautiful mate here shown by Nandi. Rook into h2. Queen h8, a backward move. This is exactly what we tend to miss. We see the queen going to h5. We see the king going to c3. Queen going forward, but we tend to miss the moves which go backward, like queen e8 and queen h5. For example, very instructive here, a move like queen e8 trying to get the queen or rotate the queen, the h8 square. We tend to miss such ideas quite often in the game, and Nandi highlights it quite nicely. Queen h8 check, and then queen h3 delivers an immediate mate. Pretty nice here. So d4, and what do we do here? Well, some chips here, lays going on in the background, so I think I deserve one chip here for my explanations.
Just want to simply win the black queen.
This is the other way around here. Both the kings are completely exposed, and
Can we
the
not?
king on e1 as well as the king on f7, both are in pretty vulnerable shape here. But white's pieces are also underdeveloped, so it looks like white is going to be struggling, but fortunately for him, he has something coming very fast. So what do you think we should be doing here, Nine?
Rook f1.
Rook f1 simply pins this queen, and black has a resource here with rook g1, which has to be met accurately here. So can you tell me what do we do next here?
Accurately. Okay. When you say accurately, then I have to get thinking.
Oh, you have to get thinking,
What
is it? You don't
exactly
need
I
to
have
trust
to
me
do.
because I can be very deceiving.
I can just go rook
I like
into.
to deceive
I
people.
can play rook into g1.
But he has knight f3, right?
Queen into f3.
Queen into f3, exactly what I was trying to deceive her, but she didn't fall for it. By
I did.
accuracy,
I
what
did.
I
I
meant
did.
is just
I did.
simple
I did.
accuracy,
I did
simply
fall.
accurate.
I did fall.
She fell for
that.
it for a second there, but she got back on her feet pretty fast. Simply accurate is also is what we see here, because there was no need to be accurate on point, simply accurate.
Okay, this one is actually quite simple. You just.
I mean, there is only one move possible in this
Yeah.
position, so we can
King
go ahead
h1 is
because
not possible because of queen g1 mate. So.
Queen g1 mate or queen f1 mate,
Yeah.
either one will simply checkmate the king on h1 there. Pretty unfortunate for your majesty. So king needs to go to h3 here. And after queen
And
f1, once again,
you just avoid the checks. So
exactly, we need to
king
avoid the
h4.
checks because we have a very strong possibility with queen e8. The king on h8 is pretty vulnerable. So avoiding checks is important. Allowing the exchange of queens is something that you would not want to do. So queen g4, king g4 would be simply met with queen in e2 and maybe queen into h5, or maybe black can even improvise after that. So what we need to do is just put king on h4. Black goes for some desperate measures with g5, which we do. We play king g4 here, Nandi?
No.
Definitely not, because after queen e2 we lose the queen on h5. So again we have a forced variation here, and passant, simply capturing the pawn on g6, and there we follow a forced mate.
Okay, this is a very famous pawn ending problem.
Exactly, yes.
That's
There's
a
a very
puzzle,
famous
yeah.
pawn problem that even I have solved in my...
It's there in every endgame book. If you go through
Exactly,
any
yes. I
endgame
mean, if
book,
you
you
go through
have
any
this.
endgame book, you'll definitely come up with this.
And-
Nandi has definitely done a research on this one. So
And it's a simple concept of the square or the box,
Okay.
whatever you may call it. So right now the black king is in the square of the a2 pawn.
Yeah.
That's the only pass pawn we have. So we have to just block him from getting into the square later on, because we are going to play a4 next.
exactly.
And the square keeps getting smaller. So we play d5.
So
on number one.
the point she was trying to say is that the king is going all the way to a8 here. After a4, king e4, a5, king d5, a6, sorry, a6, king c6, a7, and king b7, and the king reaches back to b7 in time. So what she wants to do is create a shield for the king's pathway, and that we achieve by doing something like d5. Now what we have done is the king is not really reaching b7 in time because there is a blockade in front, which is his own soldier there on d5, blocking that to
Actually,
route. So
coming on the diagonal, light square diagonal, was the only way for him to get into the square.
Exactly.
As the pawn keeps advancing, and we
the
just
king
stop
could
it.
only reach b7 on time through the diagonal. It cannot really deviate and go something like this. He doesn't really have the time to do
chess.com is
that.
not going to ask for it. We could just show the line a4,
So we just go with a4, king e4, and then a5,
king e5,
a6, and the pawn is much faster here, so that's really important. So after a5, chess.com just stops it. Why do many players accept a draw? I mean, depends. Like if you're tired, if the position is a draw, if there's nothing much you can improve, if you're not sure how to continue,
or
if you're a stronger player and you feel like you're in a worse position, or
if you just
if-
don't want to play.
if you don't feel like playing that day, many people, like everybody has a bad day. If you feel like after getting a draw you're getting into a good position, especially in the final rounds, etc., so people tend to accept a draw. And to be honest, a fact here is that if both the players or both the oppositions play best chess possible on the board, most likely it will end in a draw. I mean, if you
I
play
mean, but
chess, best chess on both sides. Yeah,
but
that's true,
we
right?
are not Indians,
We are
right?
not Indians, yes. I
So
mean, we definitely have dubious moves. We are humans, so yeah. But we accepted draw because of the reasons I aforementioned. But here now, what do we do here, Nandi? How do we go with this? Again, an interesting pawn in game here. The bishop.
oh, we are black here.
Yeah, we are black here. We are going this side, Nandi. Yeah, to be. Yeah, you can see the
Yeah, I think I should just.
coordinates here on the
I
left
think I
side.
should just
FK.
push my pawn b2.
B2 is it? What if
Yeah.
he plays bishop D3 and prevents us from going any further there?
Then I create a pass pawn on the other side of the board.
Ah, okay. So you're trying to create a deflection. That's exactly why what we see here. B2 opens up B1. Queen has a possibility. Why just defense it with bishop D3? And then what we do is just create a deflection or create an extra pawn to deal with for this bishop. The king is not reaching the h1 square in time. If the king was reaching h1, then this would not be possible. So after
But yeah,
h3,
another. Okay. I wanted to mention another variation
okay,
of
we can
that.
definitely come back to it sometime later. Now here again, the king on h8, my dear friend, is pretty vulnerable. So how do we get to exploit this?
It should be something related to the h6 pawn.
Exactly. The g7 pawn is acting like a good defensive resource here. f7
Yeah.
rook also is doing its job there. So I can see a few ways we can go about this, trying to exploit black's position.
I mean, the first two moves I considered over here are f6 and rook into h6.
f6 and rook into h6,
Yeah.
even the same here, Nandi. We are on the same page. Even I considered the same thing here. f6 and rook into h6 seem like a way to try to blast through black's king side. But there are a few resources for black too.
Yeah.
And after f6, I feel like black can play queen f5 check.
Yeah.
And make you move the king and then capture rook into f6. And I don't see anything after that. Do you? I really don't think there is anything much
There's
after that. I think
nothing
maybe
after
black
that.
is doing okay there, right? He just gets
Yeah.
defense in time. So maybe we ought to look for something better. And rook h6 comes into consideration here.
Rook h6.
So rook h6, he captures g h6. What do we do next?
Queen into h6.
Well, he has to interfere with the rook.
Rook h7 forced. Queen f6 check.
Queen f6 check. Well, he has two ways to interfere. One is with the bottom rook and one is with the top rook. So in order to make it easier for the viewers, let's play out the variation. Queen into h6 and queen f6. Now he has two ways to interfere the rook after this. One is rook g7 and rook the other rook to g7.
Okay,
Well, he
now-
goes with the other rook because let's see if he had played rook g7. What do you think we should do here, Nandi?
Rook d8 check.
There are two ways to go about it. One is h6,
h6.
trying to pin this and exploit it, and rook d8. Rook d8 is much stronger here because of a reason. He captures queen d8, we capture queen into d8, he plays rook g8
Again,
back.
queen f6.
Again, we come back to f6, and either rook he interferes with. If he interferes with this rook or he interferes with the other rook,
You still
we
go
just
h6,
simply go
yeah.
h6 and we pick up the rook. So queen against rook is easily winning for us. Now in the game, he goes with rook g7 directly. How do we go about this?
6.
Exactly. Here we do not have rook d8 coming, so h6 is definitely the way to go about it. And after this, black's king is completely exposed, and that's exactly what's going to help us. I think we
H2
pick up the rook,
Yeah.
and then rook h2 is also coming. Black is just in terrible shape there. Now here, what do we do?
Here it looks like the white queen is not really at a good spot. So it's not really on a good spot. So we have to take advantage of it. It
Okay.
doesn't. It seems like for the timing, the queen just has one square to go to. That is the c4 square.
So that doesn't work. Okay, switch off this thing. It's a little cold and chilly here in this in my friend's room here in Iraj. Likes to keep his AC quite heavy. It's getting a little chilly.
So the queen has just one square to go to. That is the c4 square.
Okay.
So if we could attack the queen and not allow the queen to go to c4, for example,
So how do we do that?
moving the knight is attacked right now.
Okay.
Knight d6.
Is that a queen getting trapped here immediately?
Yeah, it does seem like a queen trap, though he can try bishop into e5.
Okay.
But we capture his queen, he captures our queen, and we win the bishop. So we
Exactly.
will be
Yes.
at
I mean
peace up.
that's quite seemingly winning for us. So knight d6 surprisingly traps this queen on b5. Once again, the queen is coming in our own territory, and getting exploited with knight d6. And rightly so, like Nandi said, bishop to e5 does pin our queen, but after knight b5, we get a support on c7, and thus we can capture back with c7, ending up a simple piece up here.
This is the basic reason to why you should not be moving your queen out unnecessarily.
Unnecessarily
yeah.
too early, yes, definitely. Take into consideration.
Okay, knight e3, and actually our queen and
A queen is a little bit in the
a
jam
rook
here.
is also under attack,
And the rook is
and
also forked here,
it's
and
knight
also black may
c2.
be planning
Yeah.
to go knight c2 here, which is pretty interesting. And here, what we're trying to do is get out of this. What do we do here, Nandi? Black has sacrificed some material for the same. So
So we
white
are
is a
actually,
piece up at
yeah,
the
actually a
moment.
piece up. White is a piece
So
up
if
now.
white manages to get out of this unscathed, then he will definitely be better. What do we think we should do here, Nandi?
I think, can you play something like, um, actually, I don't know. I just thought of knight c4 when I just saw the position.
Knight c4 seems like a way which is ignoring everything that black is doing here and going for something
Yeah.
like it's considered to be counterplay. And I think like you're on the right path here,
Knight
Nandi.
c4 is the move I was
Seems like
looking.
knight c4 is quite interesting because after knight c4, black has to deal with black is going to fork himself here, and we have to consider that in the long term we are a piece up. So if you manage to get out of this unscathed like knight c2, what do we do here?
Queen into c2.
Queen into c2 would be terrible because
Oh,
after knight
sorry,
into
sorry. That's a
c2
check. That's a
we would
check. That's
come
a
with a check,
check.
so that would lose us the queen.
King d2.
I think king d2 is good here because this keeps the fork going, and since we are a piece up we don't mind losing a rook for a
Hmm.
knight. In that
Yeah.
case we end up two pieces for the rook, so king d2 is good here. He plays queen a6.
You can just pick up the knight.
I think we can just pick up the knight here, and like I said, we are already a piece up, become two pieces for the rook, so even if he wins the rook on a1, we are still going to be winning. Here again, we're in exchange down and a few number of pawns down, right? We are actually just having 4 pawns against white's 7 pawns, right? So an exchange and 3 pawns is what white has at the moment. So unless we mate him here or win some severe material, we are going to be losing. So what do you think we
Yeah.
should do here?
First of all, the white king wants to run out to the e2 square.
White king will either run out to e2 square or try to go back to g1 and try
Uh,
to escape his king to safety. We got to do something fast.
yeah, so I think first I got to take control of the e2 square. I mean, that's the first move that came to my mind. That
Okay.
is queen d3 check.
Queen d3 check is what
Yeah.
Nandi sees first here. But what if the king escapes to g1?
Yeah, the main point of queen d3 is if he blocks on e2, I have rook h1 checkmate.
Exactly. If he blocks on
Yeah,
e2 with the queen or the rook, we just have rook h1, which delivers
exactly.
a mate.
So for king g1, I can play a move like bishop h2. I mean, if it works, I have to check that out.
Bishop h2, he escapes with the king on
Yeah,
h1.
so
And
then I don't think that is working because
exactly,
the
because
h5 rook is hanging after that.
the h5 rook is hanging. Otherwise, we could have tried for some perpetual here with bishop
Yeah.
f4, king goes back to g1, again bishop h2, and we deliver a draw here. But unfortunately, a rook on h5 is hanging. If we move the rook, he just puts g3 and opens up a square on g2. We will see that in a moment.
Yeah.
But
So the queen d3 was the first move that came to my mind.
exactly.
But the point is, queen d3 should not have been the first move that came to my mind. I should have thought of rook h1 first.
Okay, you should have definitely thought of rook h1
Yeah,
first, which is
exactly.
even more
I just saw
aggressive.
that the king is running away, but I didn't really go to see what I can do after that. So that was my mistake. So yes, rook h1. If I do play rook h1, he has king e2.
King e2.
But then I have queen c2 after that. and
Exactly. The queen
that
goes
is
to
a mate.
c2 and covers both the squares, and the king, unfortunately, is not
Yeah,
having
so you
anywhere
should
to go
you
and
should
is
be
doomed on e2,
you should
right?
be considering checks, basically forced moves first like this, and
Exactly.
then you go to moves like queen d3 if the king is escaping.
So,
So
to
I
all the
would,
viewers who are
yeah.
trying to improve on their calculation or trying to improve their way of thinking, whenever you're in a complicated position like this, you can first consider ways which are forcing, which deliver immediate checks or something similar, where you tend to win material immediately, forcefully, without giving white any chance to get back. So, that's the first approach. Then you can think of quiet moves like queen d3 or queen c2, trying to cut off that square and then initiating the mate. Here we have a direct variation, which is rook h1. The king comes to e2 and queen c2 delivers a mate straight away because the king has nowhere to escape. Once again, we have a simple position. Not a simple position, I mean a position here on the board. We got to find out and make it simple for ourselves. What do we do? Again, to explain this position to you, we should first look at it from white's shoes. Now, what do you think white will be doing next here?
Mm,
Again, white's king is a little unsafe on g1. So if I were white, what I would do is
h3.
just play h3
Yeah,
and
h3.
open up a flight square for the king on h2, a safe square for the king on h2, so that it's not really vulnerable to any threat or anything. So what we need to do as black is
Uh, uh, I mean, if I was black here, maybe I would have just played queen b1 check.
Exactly. That's the most natural
Yeah.
response here because queen b1 draws the king towards the center and doesn't allow him to escape with
Um,
h3 and king
and
h2.
then I try to take advantage of the fact that the queen and king, white's king and queen, are on the same rank. So then rook
Exactly.
c8. And I could probably take advantage of the position of the white king after that. He would get mated or lose material
You
after
already
that.
lose material. Exactly. So queen b1 is the way, drawing the king out in the center, and now rook c8 initiates the strong threat of playing rook c2, which is pretty much unstoppable. There was one thing that we have to keep in mind. White can try something desperate with rook into g5. Now there are two ways to deal with that. One is just ignoring it, or black can try to get creative with h into g5 because after queen to g5, surprisingly a queen on b1 still manages to come to g6 back for the
Um,
defense.
but
And
does ignoring really work? Because he has queen b4 check after that.
exactly, so ignoring is not really possible here. The king either goes to h7 or to f8, but there are some possibilities for white there. So the best thing to do after rook into g5 would be to capture, and then after queen into g5 just bring the queen back to g6 and interfere. But in the game, chess.com goes with rook e5 where we simply pin this queen and we win material. So that's winning for us. Well, what do we have here? Black is definitely having some problems because the c5 bishop is under attack and knight f6 is
I think
another strong threat here.
it's uh similar to one of our previous problems.
Okay, what do we think you should do here?
Rook into g2.
Rook into g2, is it?
Yeah.
Trying to exploit the king. Exactly. Again, a situation here where we need to be fast with our approach because the king on e8 is also quite vulnerable, and the knight on bishop on c5 is also under attack. Like white has a lot of possibilities here. Knight f6. So playing something simple like bishop e7 will just not cut it because like white still has knight f6 coming here and will exploit this
Yep.
vulnerable positioning of a queen and
The
king,
point
right?
is, I think the strong pieces, let's say, of black in this position, the c5 bishop is really strong, though it may
Exactly.
not look like in this particular position. The dark squares, it controls the dark squares well. The rook on g8 is also strong. And actually, the bishop on c8 and the queen on e6, though they are not very well placed, but they are attacking the white king. So that is what we have to take advantage of.
Exactly. So rook into g2 tries to disrupt black's white's defensive resources on the king there and open up future possibilities. So after rook into g2, king into g2, what do we do next here?
I was thinking of knight h4 check.
Knight h4 check, exactly. Like even
Opening up,
opening
yeah.
up lines here. So sacrificing some material, a beautiful combination here. Knight h4 check opens up the king and draws it even further because knight into h4, if
We
knight
the
into
same.
h4 would be played on the board, queen into h3 would be immediately a mate because the bishop on c5 controls this diagonal and the queen on h3 controls all the other squares here. So it's a mate supported by this bishop on c8. So white tries king g3 here, where once again we capture on h3, is it? And the king comes up to f4 and is
Queen
drawn even
g4.
further. Queen g4 would be a mate to follow after that.
Okay. Okay, here we probably just go to win two bishops for a rook.
Okay, so how do we do that?
I first start off with rook into d8. I trade one pair of rooks.
And then after that,
Rook
queen
into
into
c5.
rook into c5, trying to exploit the spin. So capturing the bishop on c5 directly wouldn't be good because rook into d1 would come with a check. We capture and then our queen moves away. So b into c5, we no longer win the bishop on b7 here. And these bishops are quite strong here. So these are really strong pieces. And if we get rid of them for a rook, we are definitely going to be winning because our bishops become much stronger after that. So rook into d8 is the way to continue here. Queen into d8 is followed by rook into c5 like 90 said, and this exploit the spin, and we just simply pick up this queen on bishop on b7. Black does not try anything further after that, but okay, it's winning for us. What do we do here now, Nandi? Again, the king is a little vulnerable place, but you have to realize that if black manages to give the bishop for the pawn and white has
We
no
draw.
mating attack, nothing, then it's a theoretical draw. So white needs to be fast again and find the most accurate continuation here. What do you think we should
I
be
think
doing?
something related to winning the bishop or checkmating the black king
Exactly.
there.
So we got to look for something close to that in that range. What do you think we should be doing here?
The first move could be king f6.
King f6. Okay, if the bishop moves to e8.
Then rook d8.
Exactly, rook d8 initiates a very strong pin there, and it's difficult for black to get rid of it. So king f6 opens up some possibilities of rook d8 first. So if the bishop goes somewhere else, we can simply give rook d8. The king comes to h7. We go knight f8. King goes back to g6, g8. Get back the knight to g6. King
And
goes
rook
back to
h8.
h7, and rook h8 follows with a mate. So trying to use the knight, king, and rook as a combination to deliver a mate here. Bishop e8 tries to avoid that, but after rook d8, this bishop is pretty vulnerably placed. And here, do you want to go with king e5 or king e7 here, Nandi?
King e. King e7 definitely.
Yes, king e5 would allow this king to come back with king f7, and black is okay there. So king e7 is forced, initiating a double attack on the e7 bishop, and yes, a mate will soon follow after that. Now here again, the king on f1 is vulnerable, but we have to also consider the white is having a dangerous attack here. Bishop f7, rook f7, rook e8. Too many possibilities to deal with. So black needs to be fast with this continuation. What do you think we should do here?
Bishop d3 check.
Nandi is pretty fast. She found the best combination immediately, because bishop d3, what it does is deviates the rook from d1 and then opens up back rank possibilities. So how do we continue after that?
Rook g1.
Rook g1 sacrificing another rook. Another beautiful combination here. Now if white had played king e1, rook g1 is an immediate mate because the rook on b2 covers the 7th rank. So it's a standard mating pattern. Rook into d3, and Nandi initiates a sacrifice on g1, forcing black to go to g1, and then rook b1, using all your pieces here. H3 pawns being used to cover the g2 square, and white has to sacrifice a couple of rooks, and rook into e1 delivers a mate. Very nice one again.
Okay, so we have reached 43.
We have reached 43 thus far without a single mistake, which is a good sign. But here on, the problems keep getting difficult. We start with 100 and we are almost 2200 points ahead now. 2272 is what we have done previously, but the difficulty keeps increasing and problems keep getting difficult and difficult. Let's hope that we can keep the momentum up.
Okay. I don't see an immediate threat for white
Exactly.
right away. Or is there actually? There could be an
White
immediate
has a threat actually. He has something like bishop to
bishop
b6
into
or rook into
b6.
a5, which is two strong possibilities utilizing. A king is pretty weak here, but similarly white's king is also weak on h2, so we can try to exploit that too. What do you think we should be doing
Oh
here?
yeah, I was thinking of bishop into g3
Bishop to
first.
g3, giving up a piece for some activity
Yeah,
there, is
basically,
it?
okay, yeah, I was actually thinking of bishop into g3, and after he plays bishop into g3, then he doesn't have any threats. That's what I meant to say. So once his bishop reaches g3, then he doesn't have the bishop b6 or rook a5 threats.
Exactly.
So then I could go with queen g4,
Okay.
and there will be a checkmate.
Yeah, we are
board
just
after that.
reflecting the bishop of f2, because the bishop on f2 is pretty important to all of white ideas on the king, on the queen side here. Rook into a5 or bishop to b6, all are supported by this important bishop on f2. So deflecting the bishop is the first thing we do. He captures bishop g3. Now do you want to play something like h4, or do you want to play queen
Queen
g4?
g4.
Queen g4 immediately initiates a dangerous attack on g3. It's difficult for white to defend that. If he moves the bishop, we have a g2 mate. If he plays knight e2, we simply pick up this knight on e2. So white tries something desperate with rook into a5. Do you want to capture with the pawn or the knight here, Nandi? We indeed have a choice, but one is better than the other.
Definitely not the pawn, because he can play bishop f2 and again give us a check.
Exactly. So if you capture the pawn, the bishop comes back in the game with a check. Let's just remove the arrows. Yep.
Yeah.
So if you capture the pawn, bishop f2 comes back with a check, back with a bang, and then once the king moves, queen a6 delivers a mate. So capturing the knight is pretty much important here. He plays queen d7, trying for something desperate. And a common thing to do is play rook b7 here and fall for it, but you have to see that the queen on d7 is actually attacking the queen on g4. A common thing we see in blitz games, but queen into d7 simply picks up the queen and then ends up white's hopes to try to defend it. Simply win the game. You have been doing this pretty often, haven't you, Nandi? Because you seem to be quite good at it, so pretty nice to see that. Nandi has been doing quite a lot of puzzle rushes and so forth on her Twitch channel, so definitely check it out if you haven't already. The link is down in the description below.
Um,
Give her a follow if you would like to, and she will be streaming there soon, so do check it out.
it was actually the first move that came to my mind was knight e4, but it does not really look like it is working. So
Knight e4, he can just capture knight into e4. Do we have
exactly,
something after that?
I was thinking of knight into e4, but
Well, he can capture the queen on d4,
exactly
so
queen b4, and there's nothing really happening there. So that is
maybe you ought to
what.
maybe you ought to open your horizons a little bit more. Maybe you're missing out on something there, but
Uh, oh wait, 94, 94. Nah, I'm not really messing out on something, am I? Rook into c2 actually.
exactly, I feel like
Rook into
that is good,
c2.
right? Although we do tend to expose the king quite a lot here on the king side, I feel like a bishop on f8 does a good job of preventing everything there, and rook into c2
Rook into
is
c2
pretty
and
detrimental for white,
queen
isn't
c2.
it?
You have queen into e1, right?
Yeah, I mean, is that quite detrimental? It indeed seems like it, isn't it?
Yeah, it does seem like it.
So I think we can go with knight e4 here, which is a pretty strong move, because after knight into e4, we can simply capture rook into c2,
Yeah,
and this exploits the strong pin, because if queen into c2, we had queen into e1 coming there, and after queen into b4, we just pick up this queen.
and we are in
And once we
exchange up.
capture this
Yeah.
knight, we are in exchange up for not much for black here. Quite good.
Okay, this one, I mean, okay, this should be something related to d3 knight, but
Yeah. Once again, the king is misplaced on e8 here, and something related to that. How do we go about it though?
if I do play queen e4 directly, he has knight e5.
Exactly. Black will try to interrupt his knight on e5
Yeah,
there.
so I don't really like that. Or
Can
is
we improvise a little bit?
improvise? Yeah, I was thinking queen a8 check first.
What if the queen interferes in between with queen
The
d8?
point is queen a8 check. If king e7, then queen e4, knight e5, then queen into e5 because the pawn on d6 is pinned.
Exactly. So we can try to exploit that. So idea is queen a8 check. If the king comes to e7, then I go back with e4, because this time if the knight interferes, I can use the spin to pick up the knight on e5, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what if I go with queen a8 and queen d8?
Rook c8.
Yeah, rook c8 fulfills the purpose, because there we queen this king on e8 and we simply win some material. So queen a8 check, king comes to e7, and like Randy said earlier, queen e4 check, a double attack here. If the knight interfered, we would have captured the knight, and white black just interferes with the rook. We just pick up the knight on d3, simply winning some material.
Okay.
Again, the king on e4 is almost close to being mated here, and this is a brilliant. I love to be in such a position, right? I would love to be in such a position where the king can be mated in an instant on e4, and it is very lovely to mate somebody right in the center of the board, isn't it?
Of course.
Maybe you could find it out for us, Andy.
First move, maybe rook e1 check.
Rook e1 check. What if the king goes to d4? I mean, he has only two choices, d4 or f4.
Yeah,
so
d4, then I could go with rook g4. I think that is a checkmate.
exactly, the rook on g4 and the king on d4 is mated here, and that's brilliant, right? What if the king goes to f4 and
Okay,
tries
you
to
could remove
escape
the
though?
arrows
Yeah,
first.
I'll definitely do that. Rook
Rook
e1. What if the
e1.
king goes to f4
Yeah,
though?
for king f4, rook e5.
Rook e5. Wow, what a move.
e5, yeah.
I'm trying to get g3 as a mate or something.
Yeah,
Yes,
g3
but
and
what if black plays f5 there, trying to attack both your rooks?
oops, I did not see that.
Oh, Nandi missed out on that one. That's a cheeky resource there by black here. F5 and a double attack on your
Okay, I
rooks, and
didn't
Nandi
see that.
loses
I
material.
thought I was
You're a piece down, Nandi. Be
checkmating.
careful.
Okay,
Tread lightly.
I'll take it the other way around. Maybe the
You will
other
take it
rook
the
to
other
e4.
way around. So she plays rook this to e5, initiating a mating threat on e4. Let me highlight it again.
Or do
King
I need to take
f4
the rook to
and
e5?
rook to e5. What if I play f5 again, Nandi? Again,
Exactly. No,
opening up a
I don't need to
resource.
play e5. Maybe I could just go h4 instead.
Ah, okay. So she's finally back on the right path, because h4 defends the rook on g5, covers up every file here, and opens up g3 as a possibility.
G3,
It's
rook
almost
king
close
f3,
to being
rook
not
Hey, guys.
possible. Well, Neeraj is here. He's joining us on the stream. He is
What
also
are we
quite
aiming
keen
for?
on solving his
We are
problems.
aiming for
What's the
the
target?
highest possible.
We are aiming for the highest possible. Yes, Neeraj. Thank you for
Okay.
joining us.
So, by the way, okay, hi guys. I think this is the first time on a live stream that the entire. I mean, all three of us are there on the live stream.
Yes, all the three of us are
So
finally back on the stream. Neeraj is finally done with his PUBG game that he was playing. He's quite a strong PUBG player.
what rubbish!
No, he has recently been doing quite well in PUBG. You might
That's
soon see him
absolute
streaming some
rubbish.
PUBG games
You
in
know, he's
the.
just
Okay, he's just
this
a
guy's
beginner.
he's
He's just
just
a beginner. He just started playing PUBG.
Really?
so Anurag just known for his sarcasm. Okay, anyway.
Well,
So we are 46 without any mistake, right?
yes, thus far we are good, and Neeraj is going to take benefit and come in right at the right time here.
H4?
Perfect time. H4, and we have a strong threat of G3 here. The
I love
king
the
is
transition though
vulnerable.
on the pieces
Yeah.
for starters.
Yeah, exactly. We came across
Very
it
cute.
accidentally, and I quite liked it, so I kept it.
Okay.
Well, here rook d1 and black is definitely up material, but
He
his
just
knight
has
on
to defend
g7.
this. This definitely have to just be a good defense. We
Exactly,
just
the
have
king
to-
on g7, knight on g7
It's
though
just
is
a
a little
pawn
bit
up, though.
vulnerable. So
It's just-
playing
as
Just
long
a
as
pawn up.
just a pawn up. I mean that's true, Nandi. Yes, absolutely. That's a
so
pawn up.
castling is definitely an option.
Castling is a possibility. Yes, I mean he plays rook d8 for that though. So that if he capture on d8,
I
he
have
gets
rook
rook
e8
for
e8
that.
and king f7 and followed by rook f8 as a mate.
No, but I have rook e8. Right?
Rook e8 I think is the way to go, right?
So
I think we
castle-
ought to castle here because rook d8 is a
Yeah, rook
very
d8
strong
looks extremely
possibility
strong.
and we cannot really defend it easily. So once we, sorry, my bad. Once we castle, he tries rook d8. Now if we capture on d8, rook into d8,
That would lead
king
to mate
f7
or at least a
and
piece down.
rook f8 would be a mate, or we would have to sacrifice a piece. So the
I
best way
do-
to deal with it,
I do have a question though.
yeah,
If you play rook e8 and he plays rook into e8,
Yeah.
knight into e8, rook d8,
King f7.
rook d7 check.
I can just go back king g8.
exactly. We are in a pretty vulnerable state, is
So
what I was
you're
trying to
it's
say.
a draw. Basically.
No, I mean
Maybe,
basically
yes.
we are not. We are not even. I mean, we are not even saying that we are trying to win it here. We're just trying to parry all the threats. Here
Exactly.
for our
Neeraj,
opponent.
you're absolutely on point here. Black is just trying to parry your threat. But what if he plays rook e8 and plays rook 1 d7, trying to initiate this possibility of capturing on e8 as well as on.
That's pretty smart, honestly.
Exactly,
Okay,
yeah.
so
I mean, that's
I
something
should
that
be
to be ponder
having
about.
something for this. There should be something for this. That's actually pretty clever. 3 seconds.
I think we have a defense for it, but it's a little cheeky.
Is it?
Now I was trying to find something like rook c2 actually,
But what if he does bishop d6 for that?
and then I have the other rook back to c8.
Exactly. You're trying to hold your position together, and Neeraj finds the way to go about it. So rook e8 is almost forced here. He does not really try it.
Okay, so sometimes chess.com is pretty pathetic when I mean it's not a pathetic, it's a brilliant site. We are actually doing this puzzle rush thanks to chess.com, but the thing is that there are times when you're busy calculating the toughest variation, and then he just comes up with the easiest one.
Exactly.
He just gives up a queen or a rook, and we don't get to play the beautiful variation we've thought about.
Seemingly, the way Neeraj is appreciating chess.com is your job application going through well, Neeraj.
No, I
So,
wouldn't want to be
Neeraj
taking
may
up a
be,
job.
we may be soon
so
seeing Neeraj in the chess.com staff. So, be on the lookout. I mean,
I
considering
mean,
the way he was
I definitely would love to work in the anti-cheating department because
anti-cheating department.
I can
yes.
see being a moderator for these engine users is something that I would love to do because I can see so many people just using engine blatantly.
Exactly. That's quite depressive because a lot of tournaments online and a lot of people cheating. And
Yeah,
Neeraj
actually,
would like to
online chess at the top level, for example, now we've seen already two really strong tournaments: the Magnus Carlsen Invitation at the Steinitz Memorial, and now today another tournament started, a Rapid, which is elite, and it's so nice to just watch them because there's absolutely no chance that any sort of cheating is actually going to happen, and that's what should be actually the thing in every single tournament. But I don't know, people don't like to hold up they don't like to uphold the spirit of the game, and using engine is just one of the sad things that's happening.
Exactly, Neeraj. I mean, if you see somebody cheating at that tournament, in those tournaments, like that would be the end of
No,
the
I mean,
chess.
obviously, so the reason they reach that stage is, I mean, obviously they don't do it for the money. They do it because they're talented, they're hardworking, and probably integrity
Exactly.
is one of the biggest thing.
I think
Sincerity to the game. They work hours on this game, and they wouldn't just cheat. So
I mean, exactly, like the amount of effort that you put in PUBG. I mean, if you win it with a lot of effort rather than being carried, like that is something that's good, right? Like you feel good about it. You feel the
yeah,
pleasure. Like suppose you are carried by an engine. I mean, that's not something that you would feel pleasurable
yeah,
about. Like,
exactly. But
what's the point of winning with some help than
exactly. So when
doing it by yourself on
I
your
mean,
own?
people play sport for this.
Exactly.
Sport is basically for the moments where you feel more satisfied, not just winning, but sometimes even a real good game gives you pleasure, even if you've lost it. You
Yeah,
know,
that's true.
you do feel the pain, but then looking back, you reflect, and then it's like, yeah, you've had a great game.
Indeed.
So sport is played for that, but unfortunately, we've been hit by another pandemic in the chess world, which is engine cheating,
Engine cheating. Yes, I
along
mean
with
you
this
can call that a
COVID.
pandemic. Yes, I mean
So it's been there a lot. So if I mean, as you said about the chess.com job offer, job application of mine, I would be more than willing to join that department.
exactly. Yes, I mean the commentary section also would be good. Like commenting on something like Chess TV or something would be brilliant. Neeraj is beautiful with his explanations and narrations. You
Rubbish.
definitely check out the latest video we have, which is for the 500
Yeah.
subscribers. A beautiful uh,
Intro.
serene narration by Neeraj here, and definitely do check it out. Well, Rook into D8, I think,
No,
is the way to
no,
go
no, no.
here, right?
I think White played Rook takes E8. I
Ah,
think he
he
just
played
went a move
we Rook
behind.
E8 and he
Yeah,
played
so just go ahead and yeah, Knight
Rook takes
takes
C8,
E8.
and we have to capture with Knight takes
So
C8,
okay,
and
actually,
that's
do you realistically think that we could try to breach at least what's your highest score on
I
Puzzle
have
Rush
no idea
Survival?
actually. I have no idea.
Okay,
My
Maybe I'm
uh,
60 or something. I'm not
okay,
sure.
so actually we should try at least 75, and once we go to 75, maybe we can set the target at 100.
Exactly, we can try
It
something
would be
like that,
quite a
Neeraj.
long
Your help
stream.
would be quite
It would be quite a
quite
long
useful.
stream, but let's
Yes,
hope that it goes
your
on.
help will be quite important and needed here in this
Okay,
because yeah,
I
doing
hope
it
I
alone,
hope so.
both of us, may be a little difficult, but the help of your help will definitely be appreciated here in this. Let's go. What do you think we should do for knight c4? The king
I
on
mean, okay.
g1
So
seems
queen h6
vulnerable.
looks like
Hmm.
the first obvious candidate move,
Exactly, queen
and
h6
white
looks
would
like,
have to go f4. It can't go f3 because of bishop takes g3.
well, yes. I mean, queen h6 opens up a
Yeah.
strong possibility with
Rook
rook
h1.
h1. So the only way that white can escape is either with f3 or with f4. And f3 seems terrible because white black can just pick
Yeah,
up the
and then
pawn
it's
on
just a
g3
force
and
mate.
a force mate on h1 will follow. So f4 seems like the way to go. What do you think we should do for f4?
I don't know, queen h6 f4. There's always m%.
We can unpass it and try to open up
Yeah,
further, but
but
after queen into
queen into
f3,
f3
do you
looks a
see
little.
something like?
I mean, white's position, at least for now, looks pretty safe in the sense that uh, g3 e3 are protected. He has a hideout for the king on f2.
Exactly, yes.
So maybe we could consider some other moves. Actually, I just was thinking of this. I don't know how far does it even make sense. I just was thinking of this move about playing f4 first. I just
Playing
was
f4
considering
immediately,
it.
is it? Yeah,
Yeah,
trying
but
to
honestly, it
prevent
has.
black.
Yeah, but I don't really think it has a serious threat, right? Does it? Like, for example, let's just assume
It
that
does
white goes.
have a threat of f3.
No, I mean,
f3 is one
but I
threat,
think
and
white can just go knight takes d6. f3, I think white can just capture.
white can just
And then
capture
there's a queen c4 check, by the way. So
queen c4
I
check.
don't
Yeah, I mean
really
you have a
think.
point there,
I
Neeraj.
don't really
Yes.
think that that's
Okay, what really
that's
happens
wrong.
for queen c4 though?
I mean, there's a smothered mate for starters.
There's no smothered mate. I have knight f7, rook f7, queen f7, then I have rook h1 check.
Yeah,
King
and then king
h1, queen
takes.
h6.
No,
Oh,
but you're
I'm not
never
getting.
mating.
I'm not
You're never
reaching queen
mating there.
h3.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not meeting him in time there, Nandi, and also the queen on f7 attacks the pawn on f3.
Yeah,
Well, we're going
yeah.
a little deep here. If you cannot follow, it's okay because yeah, we're quite deep, but we'll definitely play out a few moves and then you should be getting a hang of it if you aren't already.
okay, so Madhu Ramanathan has asked, why do many chess players accept a draw?
Yeah, we did
Yeah,
respond to
Oh,
him.
okay,
Yes.
okay. Sorry, guys. I wasn't on the stream.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
I'm basically going to be a kind of guest on a guest on this stream. I probably will be in and out a couple of times if
No, we
you're
would
going
love
on.
to have you here on the stream, Neeraj. Like your voice is serene, and
Yeah,
I
I
think that
can.
will definitely help our stream quite a
You
lot.
should start some page on sarcasm though.
Not really. Like this is
Anyway,
not
no.
sarcastic,
Let's
but
get back to this position. So f4 was a move that I considered, but I think it's better to always examine a move completely first, right? Probably that's
exactly.
how one should be thinking. But
Exactly.
It's very hard in practice. You see a move, you get enticed by it, you start calculating it. But okay, queen h6 has to be calculated completely first. So for queen h6, there is f4.
How do we go about it after f4,
Okay, I
Neeraj?
have f4, knight into d6. How about f into g3 over there?
I think there's still queen c4.
Queen c4 or queen a2, and
I
I
mean,
try
I
to
can go
open up,
queen c4 check, right? I am.
trying to
Okay.
open up knight f7 check is a possibility,
Yeah,
and after it, yeah.
actually, for a queen a2 or queen c4, queen d5 would have been an option probably, but you can just exchange and go knight takes e4, and I defend the f2 pawn as well.
As well as, yeah,
So
I mean,
there's
that
no
would definitely
fork.
be losing the game for us. So we got to look for something stronger than this. How do we go about it? How do we exploit White's king's position there and completely destroy him? Well, Neeraj, I have a question for you. How about we try to improve our move order? Let's say we go with f4 and knight into d6 and try queen h6 after that.
Then queen c4 check.
What if I move my king now? Well, now the point is I have a
Rook
threat on the rook
h1.
And for king
h1.
f1, there's f3.
Now I play f3. So I gained an extra move there. Don't you think that could
Exactly.
work? Like,
Yeah.
it could work, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it
definitely that
seems like
looks.
there's another possibility that I have in mind, which is playing queen h6 first. He plays
Okay.
f4, e into f3, queen
Queen
into
into
f3, and
f3.
then I try f4, trying to blast through. But I think there's a drawback to this variation because
I mean, there are several moves here that white can definitely do. I mean, it doesn't look at least convincing.
convincing. Yes, I mean, to answer you, Madhav, I would definitely prefer two bishops any day in any position. Doesn't have to be the middle game, end game, opening. I would prefer two bishops. A
Yeah.
single bishop versus a single knight. Yes, I mean, that is something that we would have to consider depending on the position. And yes, I mean, the position is too close, then the two knights will be better.
Exactly. So today I just was hearing Peter Swidler on Chess 24, and he says that in the Russian school of chess, they value the bishop pair a lot.
Remember the book
And
Soviet Chess Primer? I suggested to you, Madhav. That's definitely based on the Russian school of chess. So
okay, so Swidler actually was explaining the fact how they teach in the Russian school of chess, how they basically teach that the bishop pair is extremely strong, and it's only until they actually, like, let's say, graduate and become much stronger players, or until 2400, 2500, that they actually start even considering the remote possibility that a bishop and knight in certain positions could be stronger than the bishop pair.
exactly, yeah, that's true. Even I felt it by experience. After a lot of experience, I would definitely prefer the two bishops nearly in any position, because if I have a minute possibility of even opening out the position, even in a close position, I would still take the two bishops because they're way stronger. They can compete with the queen. They are that strong. So
Yeah,
two knights can never do that. So I just prefer the two bishops. That is,
although
The two knights can be tricky though.
the two knights can be
Yeah.
tricky in situations, but the two bishops are too powerful. They just control too many things at once. So yeah. Yes, Neeraj, you had to say in
yeah,
that.
so basically the thing is, you know for a person like some of the openings that I play, I just give away a bishop probably on move 3 or 4, and uh, personally, when I play with a bishop pair, it feels way more comfortable. But certain positions demand something. It doesn't always have to be the bishop pair. And when Swidler said this, he was like, I think it was it a Sergei Karyakin position today? I think yes, it was the poison pawn and something of
Maybe it
that
was
sort.
something of that sort. I definitely
Yeah,
missed out
I
on
think
that
it was
one.
Sergei Karyakin's position where black had the bishop pair, and he was saying that he liked black because even if black lost the two pawns which he was up, it was, I think, Sergei Karyakin against if I'm not wrong, it was Duda.
Duda, is it?
Jan Christoph Duda was playing black.
Yeah, I guess Sajid Karkin had the two bishops against the bishop
No,
and
no,
the
no, no, no,
knight.
no. I think Karyakin had the bishop and knight against the double bishop.
Against the double bishop, yes, the knight
Yes.
on e4. I remember the position.
Yeah,
A bishop on
and
f3, knight on
it was
e4.
it was that position where actually Jan Gustafsson and Lawrence Trent were like, okay, white's just at least comfortable. And Swidler brought up this thing that black has the bishop pair, and then he contradicted his own point by saying that, yeah, when you look further into the position, you realize that although it's pretty open, the bishops are not really as useful as,
At the moment, yes, the bishops were blocked by their own pawns in
yeah.
that game. So yes, I mean that is a good example. I remember this one time in the past, like a very long time ago, Topolo was once asked like, would you prefer a knight or a bishop? And he surprisingly answered with a knight, which was pretty funny. I was what Topolo was with Kasim Zano. I think it was Kasim Zano, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I think it was Kasim Zano who said that he would prefer the knight over the bishop, which is quite funny to all the top level players, like
Yeah.
because the bishop is always preferred by them.
So
But there are some
Madhav says
exceptions.
even Fisher preferred a bishop. Yeah, so I mean, Fisher definitely probably preferred the bishop. But there was this, I think, famous game where the commentators went absolutely berserk after Fisher played this very famous move, bishop takes b5, if I'm not wrong.
Yes,
Like,
I'm giving up the.
yes, he gave away one of his extremely strong bishop. Was it for an absolutely horrible knight or something like
Exactly.
that?
But he had
So
a
I mean,
point on that.
yeah, exactly. So the point is, although he preferred bishops, he definitely had a great understanding of the position.
There was a point when he also gave up the knight, a very strong knight on e5 for the bishop on d7, if you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
In a similar instance where he preferred the bishop because he knew that the end game was winning for him. So yeah, it depends on the position also. So you cannot really argue on Kasim Zano's point there.
Okay,
But I
yeah.
think two bishops are always going to be preferred by any top level player, and I think that is rightly so accepted by everybody.
Okay, so Madhav also says, what did you think of Vishy's win against Ian
Ian
his
in
recent?
the recent
I think it was
in the
that
fitting.
17 move game where
Yeah,
Nepo had a small little miscalculation
yeah, I
of
don't really
sorts.
recall it like very
Uh,
clearly. Maybe
yeah,
Neeraj.
I think he just got f5
yeah,
4 and
exactly.
just
So
pushed the pawn. So
Ian went
f4
something like
f5. Yeah,
d4,
yeah.
and then Anand had this f4 f5
Just
idea, which
f4
was,
F4
f5
F5.
6.
yeah, kind
Yeah,
of an
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
intermediate
yeah.
move.
I get a vague memory of it, and I think yes, that was.
So basically, okay, I mean, when you ask that question, it was obviously well played by Vishy, but there was a major contribution from Ian as well, knowing the type of player that he is.
Ian can be a little shaky
I wouldn't
time from time
really
to
use the
time.
word shaky. It's erratic. I mean, he could play brilliant chess,
Yeah, exactly.
and he could also, kind of try to blitz out and bluff, and
Exactly, like a
sometimes
lot
it
of
does go
bluffing
wrong.
abilities and a lot of sometimes he's a little inconsistent
So
and like
probably he mixed up some theory. If he either it was just a mistake he made, a blunder that he made by blitzing out moves, or he probably mixed up some theory
no, he
somewhere.
may have mixed it up. The reason is
it's also an
because
online game, right? So I mean
yeah,
that
but
is
the
also another
one
point to
more
be
thing is
considered. It's not the FIDE candidates here, so
but the another thing is he may have mixed it up because he was kind of he must have not he was not prepared for it because Vishy was not playing that opening. Vishy does not play it, but
yeah,
especially
maybe
he
this
prepared it
like
and went for the
after the
game.
game I think there was a like Amishi was asked about it and he said like he had this in his preparation which his second Wojtasek had prepared for him 10 years ago, which is quite good, and finally got to explore it out on the board. It's quite funny, but 10 years ago, and yeah, you can see how deep his preparation is. So you'd already seen this, and maybe Jan was not aware of it. So yeah,
Mhm.
that worked out in his
Okay,
favor.
so let's go ahead.
I think we are. I think
this
we are on point. I
yeah,
think I feel like
Queen
it's
h6,
definitely f4 and then
then
follow it up with Queen h6,
yes,
followed by
yes.
Rook h1. I think that is the way to go here. Well, we
Wow.
were wrong. I think maybe Queen h6 and the
What?
idea that I said with f4 later may have worked out better, in my opinion. Maybe that was
Okay,
the way to
so
go. We have got the
75.
first mistake, and 75 is looking like a different, but we are getting difficult problems here. I think here we have a check to deal with, so we got to decide where we got to take the king. Do we take it to f6 or do
I'm
we take it to
certain with a
e4?
grandmaster in the house, we don't want to be setting targets of 50, right?
No, I mean I myself have scored 62 as the
Okay,
highest.
so-
Exactly. So Nandy has been quite actively solving this puzzle rushes. So definitely check out her Twitch channel for the same. You can be delighted with some interesting things there. She does a lot
and
of instructive things on her
I
channel, her
think
Twitch channel.
we
Down in the description below. Do check it out.
and we also have already added one of the survival videos
Exactly.
on our
Nandy already
channel.
has a survival video on her channel also. You can look it up and see how she solves the survival mode with a lot of dedication and
Though
a
I
lot
did,
of focus.
though I did not score 62, I scored much less, but it's there.
It's there, okay. But that's not the point. Like you do definitely solve quite well.
Okay, so coming back to this position, it looks like King e4 has to be the most
King e4
obvious
seems
choice.
like the most obvious choice. Trying to take
No
the
more
You know,
king
checks.
to.
there's not a single check.
I mean, the idea is next to play d2, so I think white may play something like knight f3.
Yeah, knight f3 looks forced. Actually, I don't know.
Yes, you followed already, Madhav. This was also to the other viewers. So yeah, thank you for the follow though. So king e4, knight f3, and queen e5 is the idea, right? What do you,
Yeah, queen e5 definitely is the idea for white.
how do you think we go about it? To be
Uh,
honest with you, king d4 also is a possibility, but knight f3
No,
check
king
seems
d4
like
just, yeah, just gives a
just
tempo.
gives us the tempo and then immediately loses us the game. So it cannot be king d4 for sure.
what happens for king e4, knight f3, d2?
We can go
This,
with d2, yes, 90.
Yeah, was
I
it
think there's
d2?
queen c2 check.
No, not
This queen c2 check, and then I just pick up the d2 pawn.
Well,
no, actually
she has
queen
queen
d3
d3 as a
check.
reverse
Oh,
check
wow,
on you.
wow, okay, okay. Yeah.
She's tricking you. And that's exactly what Nandi is good at, finding resources like this.
So a queen e5. There we have king d3, and what is he going to do?
I mean, white can't go queen e5 for sure.
Yeah, why
Because
cannot go
after
king e5? Because after king
king
d3,
d3,
it's pretty
there's
devastating for
no,
him.
there isn't a single check over there.
So I think we are on the right path here. King e4 followed by d2 and queen c to queen d3 may be the catch here. Isn't it? I think
Yeah.
queen d3 is winning, so I think that's the catch, and I think we have found the solution here. King e4, and then we go with d2. And white captures 92, queen d2. We have two extra pawns here in the center, which should be good enough to win. So that was good.
Queen
Okay, so we have
against.
another question here from Madhav. I think he's the only active person on the chat on our stream, so let's answer every question that he has. Also, are gambits really useful in chess matches, or are they just used sometimes to confuse players?
Mm.
No, okay. So I mean, it's not like a gambit is only used to confuse players. I mean, there are so many strong, like for example, I know Gavin Jones is an avid user of the Scotch gambit.
Yeah.
And then I do remember Fisher playing the Evans Gambit a couple of times, if I'm not wrong. I think he has.
Well, to point out one thing here, Neeraj, like some of the gambits are not really gambits, like the Scotch gambit, the Queen's gambit.
They're
They don't
not
really end up
gambits.
being gambits because you tend to win the pawn back
Yeah, they
mostly. You
just
tend to return the
No,
pawn
yeah.
back most of the
I'm not
times.
really sure
Evans
about
gambit,
that.
though, is not really an example where you win the pawn back immediately. You go for something very aggressive and rash. King's
Okay,
gambit is
so
not something where you win the pawn back immediately.
Okay, now it
So,
depends on which gambit he's talking about. There are
yeah,
some gambits that actually reach
no,
a
okay. The
completely
question,
minus
okay,
position.
but we are going off the question directly. Actually, we are not talking about giving a pawn or no, Madhav. So the point basically is that a gambit in any of the gambit, right? The main purpose of it is not basically to confuse your opponent, but it is kind of most of the let's say the more conventional gambits, the ones which have been played at top level as well. They mostly are played to attain piece play, you know, to have some active pieces, to get free flowing development, and it's played for that reason. It's basically not used to only confuse your opponent. Actually, since the gambits are not very common, they could be a little confusing sometimes, since not everybody has
actually,
knowledge
to
of the
be
theory.
right there, Neeraj, like maybe not exactly to put it in the right way is confusing is not the best way to put it. More like a surprise weapon, so that you tend to
Yeah.
catch your opponent out of his preparation or try to do something new on the board. Like that is a way, like not to exactly confuse. Confusing is not the best way to put it out because at the top level at least you don't need to confuse people. We definitely catch them out of their preparation or a little bit of out of the. I have a surprise weapon there or surprise value there, so that is something that people tend to do often. So gambits are used in that sense, especially in faster matches where it's difficult um, for the people who are experiencing or facing the gambit to recuperate immediately, so they don't tend to waste some time or spend some time on the clock, which can be useful in fast games. Yeah.
So, by the way, Madhav, if you think that your questions are being answered and you do like the stream and you like the videos on our channel, you could always suggest our channel, to some of your friends and buddies. It would do our channel great help.
Indeed,
Getting
yes, Manav.
support.
That would be quite useful if you suggest it to somebody and they join in. That would be quite useful to us. Help our channel grow even further.
Okay.
Help the community
Okay,
grow.
here I was thinking queen e6 check.
Queen e6 check. What if he goes bishop e5 though?
Yeah, then I was thinking queen. What did I see? I saw something. Queen into c6. I think I
So
saw.
basically, this kind of position has to be some
Queen
kind of
into
geometry where we could pick up
c6.
the rook.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Pick up the
So
rook or pick up the piece, something in that range. So it's not going to be easy, but I think we have the skill to get it there, Nandi. Yes.
I was thinking queen e6 because I don't want to allow king e3 immediately.
Okay, he plays
But
bishop
wait,
e.
I have queen c6. There's no king e3 because I have queen c1 anyway. So
Exactly. That's
it
exactly what
doesn't make
I was
sense. Yeah,
thinking. Yeah.
it doesn't make sense
So
because there's
queen.
only queen
I mean, are
c1.
you all sure about that? Because I think there's a possibility that you have to consider where you go queen c6, king e3. Even if you go queen c1 check, probably black can still go d2.
D2 and
But there's a
exactly after
check,
queen
Queen
right?
into
takes a3, and then black can
king
go
e2.
king
Neeraj
e2.
is up with his good ideas
It's
here.
still
Queen
tricky.
a2
It's
and
still
trying to
tricky
get d1 to work here.
because if white has queen e7 check, which looks like the only one, black has bishop e3, and there's no more check, and I think black just promotes. So the only thing in that position, the only move possible would be queen a2, pinning the
Queen
pawn.
a2 trying to pin the pawn. He goes king e1.
And then black could go king e1, and then you could go queen e7 check if you wanted, but
Queen
that has to be
e6
calculated. That's
queen e6
sorry,
check.
queen e6 check. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
I mean
different
he goes
story.
king f1 for that, and I think we can improve the queen to a triangulation and finally pick up the piece on d4
And then capture queen
and then
takes
capture
d2.
queen takes d1
That
or
could be an
d2, and that
option.
should be winning here. I think queen into c6 is the way to go here. The only thing, if he plays king e5, what do we do?
King e5. Okay, something like queen e8 check.
King d5.
Mm, do I have queen f7? Queen. I shouldn't love king c4. I definitely don't want the king and the rook to unite.
Exactly, you're right on that.
So, do I have queen f7 check?
Well, the king goes back to c6, which is probably the only
No,
thing
queen
that I can do.
king c6 probably could be met with queen c4 check, bishop c5. Okay.
Well, I think queen c4 check, bishop c5 helps the rook and bishop to unite
Yep.
together. So maybe you ought to look for something better, Nandi. Definitely, Madhav. No worries. We are always ready to answer all the questions. And thank you for being on the stream with us thus far. Thank you for showing the support. So I think Neeraj, I have the solution, but if you have any idea,
No,
Nandi,
you could just go forward.
yeah.
with it.
So what we can do is queen into c6. If the king goes to e5, we go with queen e8 check. You were right about that. The king
King
goes
b5.
here. We definitely prevent the king from escaping.
Queen f7.
Yep,
And if the king
c6.
goes c6, we can go queen e6 check. And if the king goes back
Oh
to
yes,
c5,
yes. You just pick up the
Queen
rook
e7.
and
with
we just
king
pick up the
b7.
rook
Yes,
with queen
yes.
a7
So that
and
was
queen into e3. So it's slightly long, but we are entering some difficult territories, so it should be there. King d7, we can again force that prediction, I believe.
I think you just have queen d7 check in that case. You're picking up the d4 bishop, and if you go king e4, you go
we
queen
can play
e7.
queen
e7.
e7 and pick up the rook
The
on
rook.
a3. And if we play king e3, which is the complicated one,
Yeah,
queen
that's queen
c1,
c1.
d2, queen
Yeah.
into a3, king here, and we go with king e2. At first, I thought something like king g2 would be
And
interesting,
queen
but
f3 check.
but
No,
that
then-
doesn't really work out
yeah.
well. Queen a2 is good enough. So
It
queen
somehow
into
feels like Nakamura's board, right? With so many arrows.
exactly. We need a few more arrows though, like to make it Nakamura's board, but I think that's not going to be relevant here. So let's just play out. Maybe we'll come across
Queen
a problem
c1
where we
check.
need Nakamura's
Okay.
board, and I think here we just go with queen a2, which
Yeah,
will
queen
wrap
a2 looks
things up
forced because queen e7 would be a blunder.
to bishop e3 because then we
bishop
have no
e3.
more checks. So we want to keep the queen on the light square here because the king on e2 is in the light square. We want to get some light square checks going here or prevent him from improving. So queen a2 is the way, and that finishes the problem.
Okay, guys, I'll be back. I'll be back with you all.
So
I'll,
Neeraj is leaving us for a second PUBG game
No,
here.
not
It's
not for
quite,
PUBG probably,
really...
but I'll be back.
Okay, no worries, Neeraj.
So-
We are always looking forward to your narration. So
50 is pretty good.
50 is decent, yes, but your help
I
will
hope
be
I
needed
hope
for...
I hope when I come back I could see something like 60.
Which
well,
means you're not gonna come soon.
No, I
well,
wish,
I'm
I wish.
hoping that you come back soon,
Let's hope
Neeraj,
you
because
solve
we need
faster.
your explanations here. We need your help. So please come back as soon as possible. Queen f5 check and king h8 is what is going to happen, right, Nandi? What do you think we should do
I
here?
really didn't have a look at the position.
Okay.
Queen f5, king h8, yeah, of course.
How do you think we should go about it? The queen on c2 is also a little bit in a vulnerable state,
yeah.
but is there something you can exploit here in particular?
That's what we have to look at. see if we could do. If there's no rook on d8, then it would have been easy. Rook d2 probably would have saved.
But there's rook into d2 coming for that, right?
Yeah, right now there's a rook on d8. So
Exactly. So can we do anything about it?
how about I do play queen f5?
Okay, he goes to king h8 for sure.
Oh
Because
no
of
no not rook f5. Actually, I want to play yeah queen f5 first. Yeah, queen f5.
queen f5, is it?
Yeah, and king h8, and then I play rook d2.
Rook into d2.
Queen into c8.
Exactly. I think that's exactly what even I had on my mind, because that initiates a double attack here. So queen f5 first. The move order is also important, because if you go rook d2, it captures rook into d2. What happens is the rook on d2 defends the queen on c2. So if you go queen f5, black can go with king g8, and knight into f6, g into f6, queen into c2 would not win the queen anymore. So queen f5 fulfills that purpose, forces the king back to h8, and then we play rook d2 as we show. And then rook d2. This traps the queen, so black is forced to capture on d2, and now queen into c8 initiates a double attack both on f8 as well as on d2. So we either win the exchange or the piece, which should be good enough for us to win. Knight into d2 picks up the exchange, and we are winning. Let's move on. So 51 now.
Okay. Again, it seems to be something related to the light squares, but I don't really know.
Yeah, the light squares are quite weak in Andy, so maybe you can show some expertise here and help us with getting the right move.
Um, okay. The first thing I considered, though it's not really working. Oh well, is it working? Well, it is working. B3 was what I considered.
b3 is what 90 considers first here, which is quite interesting, because if put into b3, we capture the piece on a5, is it? And if the queen goes to a3,
Well, I consider the captures first.
okay, so she has considered
B3,
b3, knight into
B3,
b3.
then
Clearly, if the queen moves
queen
back
C4.
somewhere, we just capture the piece
Yeah.
on a5, winning a piece. Got to be a piece up is good enough, and we have two strong bishops here on the board, so that should be winning. So if
I
he
just
captures knight into
considered knight
b3, what would you do
queen
here?
C4 check.
Queen c4 check, forcing the exchange and trade of the queens here, and after bishop
Bishop
c4, we
C4.
pick up the piece on b3. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
I feel like you're on the right path. So what do we do for something like queen a3?
Probably the queen is getting trapped with
Okay, queen is
rook,
getting...
rook a2, or yeah, rook a2, bishop a5 maybe.
Exactly, we do win a piece here with
Win a
bishop into
piece,
a5.
yeah.
So I think that should be good. You're in the right part. The brilliant move b3 here wraps things up. So queen c4 is what we do here. Exchange the queens and then end up winning the piece on b3. Pretty simple here. Moving on. Well, here it's a wild thing going on, because rook into e3 would otherwise simply win the queen. But the point is, can we do better than that? Can we do better than that?
Oh, we have to consider we are piece down right now. We are having black is having an extra knight.
Yes. So after queen rook into e3, black would definitely have rook and knight for the queen with one extra pawn on f6. It should be better for white, but do we have something better than capturing rook into e3, Nandi?
Okay. I don't really know. I've not really calculated.
You can take your own time, Nandi. We are not in a
Rook
rush.
e3, rook e3. That's all I saw. And second thing I saw was bishop into e4, queen into e4, rook into f6.
Rook into f6. Yeah,
But
that
then he
also
has
seems
bishop into
quite
d5.
interesting, right? He has bishop into d5.
Then
Indeed,
I
yes.
don't have anything after that, do I? I don't.
Well, you do have bishop to e4, queen into e4, rook e1, and followed by rook e7 also, right? Something worth considering, I guess.
Yeah, rook e1, rook e7.
Black will play something like queen into d5 for that, where we have rook e7, but black does have king f8. It's something to ponder about, but is it really that strong, is the question.
Probably the rook e1 idea is good.
The rook e1 idea is better than playing something like rook into e3. I feel like I would definitely play rook into e3 here, considering the fact that it's very like not risking much. I feel like rook into e3 is the way to go.
So you're
Although bishop into
saying
e4 does
how
excite
is
me.
okay? What's the continuation though? You could go rook e3, rook e3, queen f2 could be played.
Queen f2 or queen f4, either one. I think maybe queen f2 is more on point. Now the problem for black is he has to defend f6 and also take care of the idea with b3.
B3, yeah.
So I feel like that is more, makes more sense. Queen f4, I think maybe he plays rook f8, and after b3 he may try something like rook e2, attacking the bishop on c2, or knight d2 also is a possibility, trying to do something there. It's a little complicated, but I feel like one of these moves should work.
I preferred queen f2 because if after b3, if I could get something like queen a7 or something, I can just make use of the dark squares. So I said queen f2 just looked better than queen
It
f4.
looks better,
But
yeah. Even I agree with you, Nandi. I think like this is queen f2 is looking quite decent here. Queen f4 also can be met with bishop into d5 surprisingly, and after queen f6, king g8, right? If b3 maybe something like rook
sorry,
e2, we are losing track here.
I didn't get you.
Suppose rook into e3, rook into e3, queen f4. Maybe black plays bishop into d5, and if you play something like queen f6, king g8, black is doing okay maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe, right?
no serious threat.
No serious threat, and black has a serious threat of capturing h3 for
Actually,
starters, and also like moving the knight. Rook e2 also
we
is a
have
threat
a
here.
bishop on c2, right?
We do have a bishop on c2,
So
yeah.
maybe we do have bishop into g6
But
there.
I don't think like it's that much working, because after
Queen
g6, like
yeah, the rook's not,
yeah, you
rook
don't
can't
have
really
enough
get, but we
pieces
have
to
we
mate.
have perpetual checks
But
there.
I don't think perpetual is something we would look for in such a position
Yeah.
which you're clearly winning, right? So I think rook into e3 would be good here, and then queen f2. We were on point, and then b3
b3.
dislocates this knight, and they win up the piece. So we were on the right path there. So how do we go about this one? We are a piece down. We got to do something fast.
First move.
Rook at 7 makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense here, but is it really the best?
Maybe not, but we have to consider.
We have to definitely consider it. Well,
What is black's immediate threat though? I don't think he
black doesn't have an immediate threat, but he's a
doesn't have
piece
an
up.
immediate threat.
He's a
Okay.
piece up. Yeah, he's a piece up, yes.
So if he does not have an immediate threat now, could I play some? Okay, it doesn't really make sense.
Always looking for mating, waiting moves
No,
everywhere.
could I play something like?
Simple chess is the way to go sometimes, and Nandi highlights it quite efficiently.
No, could I just play something like rook f7? I'm just considering it now. I don't really know. I'm just saying rook f7 with
Rook
an
f7
idea
seems
of
like it's a little too slow with the idea of queen into
queen
d5.
d5, yeah.
Is it trying to initiate a mate?
Yeah, that just rook at 7. I just saw king g8, but the rook is pinned, of course, to d5 rook after that. But I'm just saying rook f7. What if I go rook f7? What happens?
He might play bishop e5 and ask you a question. So, do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, that might.
Yeah, I
my
feel like I would
g3
resign
pawn.
in that, right? Like as white, like I feel like
Yeah, my
resignation would be
g3
the
pawn is
best
in
answer
trouble.
there.
So
Yeah.
rook at 7 does seem like.
Rook f7 seems like a blunder indeed.
Yeah,
Yes.
rook at 7 seems like.
Rook at 7 definitely
beneficial.
tries to initiate a pin with the king coming to g8. Seems like the way to go, but what do we continue?
I think then you could go rook d7 after that.
Rook d7. Which rook to d7 is it?
Rook h d7.
Rook h d7 or rook a d7?
Does it make a difference?
Does it make a difference?
I don't really know if it makes a difference.
Well, rook, whichever rook you play to d7, I will be going with queen back to e6, trying to take care of that pin.
Okay. So rook at 7, king g8. You're going to play queen e6.
Maybe.
Okay, definitely. Then I got to play rook h d7.
Rook h d7. I still go with queen e6. I can try queen e4, but that is not really good because of a reason. But queen e6 is the way. What would you do for queen e6? Something to ponder about, isn't it?
Okay, but I'm sure it's something related to that.
It's something related to that indeed, but we need to put it in place. Maybe you could help us put it in the right place here and the right order.
Okay, I'm unable to check it out, so. So, what are we supposed to do?
So that's a question I'm asking you for a long
6.
time now. You're the puzzle rush expert. Do we have something simple like rook h7 and queen b7? Is that something to we're looking at?
I did consider it at first, but then I
Okay.
just rejected it. I don't know why.
You
I felt
rejected, is it?
this was a lot more attractive to me. The
Rook
print.
d7, is it? But I feel after queen e6, we could not really find something, right?
Yeah, I
Maybe you have
can't really find
to
anything.
change ideas then. Is queen b7 something to be considering here? What do you think? Your thoughts?
Queen b7 seems to be winning immediately.
What if you place queen e6 for queen b7?
Um, rook. Okay, queen e6.
Well, I'm trying to prevent the immediate threat of queen f7 here, so queen e6 seems like
the
the way.
first move. Rook h7, king g8, queen b7.
Queen e6, yes. So the variation here is rook h7, king g8, queen b7, and queen e6, trying to prevent the idea of queen f7, which was the mate here.
Okay, but
Just trying to take control of the square.
like,
What do you think we should do there?
something like rook h8 or
Rook h8, bishop into h8.
queen h7,
Well, king f8,
queen h8,
queen h8, queen g8.
queen f6.
Oh, queen f6. Wow, Nandini has managed to find something interesting here. So rook h7, king g8, queen b7, queen e6, rook h8 check. What a brilliant move there. Because after king h8, we have queen h7 as a mate here immediately. And with bishop to h8, queen h7, king f8. I think we're losing track here. Maybe some of you may be losing track. So we'll play out a few moves. I think I trust her variation here. Definitely. She is the expert. So queen into a7 was played, which is very annoying by chess.com. I think this needs to be improved, and Neeraj, after joining the staff club, may help us in that. But after queen e6, rook h8, king into h8, we have queen h7, which is immediately a mate. And bishop into h8, we have queen h7.
Queen h8.
Queen h8, the queen which was on e6 goes back to g8, and then we have queen coming back to f6 all the way. The king has nowhere to go. King e8, queen e7. If the queen interferes, we just capture and deliver a mate. Are we on the right path here? Yes, Nandini is on the same page. And after queen into a7, we simply pick up this piece on the queen on a7, again initiating queen f7 as an idea. So black has no time to push the pawn. Could not highlight that because chess.com doesn't want us to, but let's move on. 54 is a decent number. Neeraj may be joining us anytime soon.
Okay, here white does have an immediate threat. We have to consider rook into h7.
Rook into h7 followed by queen h3 and queen h6 is an immediate threat for white to deal with here.
For black to deal with, yeah.
For black to deal with, I'm sorry. So we need to initiate a threat for which white will have to deal with, and we need to do it fast. Well, how do we get rid of these arrows? We just click on the empty square and that's it. So we need to do something more precise and quickly. What do we do here, Nandi?
Well, something like rook d5 work.
Rook d5. Immediately she comes up with the resource with rook d5. What if I do rook into h7 here?
King into?
Queen h3 check.
King g8.
King g8 is pretty important here because if the king goes to g7, we have queen h6 and rook f8. I tried to trick her, but she didn't fall for it. So let's move on. Rook into d5, c into d5, and then
You're thinking e2.
e2 is it? Yes. So e2 initiates the queening idea. Again, white does not have anything with rook h7, and after rook into e2.
Rook e2.
Rook e2, queen into, sorry, my bad. Rook into e2, queen into e2, and queen f4. And after queen e7, white tries desperately for some perpetual, but the queen fortunately comes back to interfere, right? So let's go with rook d5. Trust the variation there. e2, rook into e2, followed by queen f4, and the queen is back for the defense in f7. Brilliant here thus far.
Okay, we are white.
Yes, we are definitely white, and the pawn is going this side, Nandi. Yeah, the coordinates are on the left side of the board. And yes,
I do check them out every time.
Every time, yes. I mean, it's very confusing. Yes, I
mean,
understand.
only during endgames, it's always.
Yeah, it's a little disorienting. Yes, I understand clearly. It happens quite a lot. Yes.
Okay, he's directly queening with h1, so we just can't go a7.
Yeah, I mean he's indeed queening with h1 and delivering an immediate checkmate, so we don't have
So
no
we
time
have
to
to
queen.
first stop him. So first move should be knight g3 or knight f2.
Knight g3 or knight f2, is it?
Knight g3 seems to be kind of forced because you attack the rook and stop.
But we are really not attacking the rook. Like we cannot really capture that rook.
Yeah, we're not really attacking the rook. That's also there.
What if I
Knight
play
f2
rook
knight.
g5 for knight f2? Knight g3. I mean, sorry, rook g5.
For knight g3.
Yes, rook g5.
Well, then I could just go with... Oh wait, you are again tricking me.
Oh, oh,
Okay.
very accidentally trying to trick her, because if you go a7 in that position after knight g3, rook g5, a7, there is h1 queen, knight into h1 and rook g1. Once again, using this knight on f3, covering the d2 square and delivering an immediate mate here with rook g1, which is quite good. But let's see what Nandi has in store here.
So, okay, that idea, rook g5. Okay, that does not really look very good.
Maybe we got to
knight-
find something
Maybe
better.
knight f2 is
Well, knight
better.
f2 if I go with rook g5 once again.
Then maybe I could get out of it somehow.
And how do you do that?
If I try to play c3, you play d3. Is it? Not really, right? Yeah. Okay. Knight f2, rook g5. Can I play something like king b1?
King b1, is it trying to escape with your king to a2 and
Yeah,
get out
king
of there?
b1, king a2. Give away my knight probably, and yeah, I mean, yeah.
What if I do something like g2, rook g2 there?
I'll go knight h1.
You want to use that knight as a shield. But what is the benefit of going with king b1 over something like b3 or b4? If you could enlighten us on that.
I don't know, I just felt king b1 is safer.
King b1 is safer, is it? Wow, that's a simple explanation, Debanandi. The king is running away to a2. That's a safer option than pushing a pawns. Taking into consideration that pushing pawns unnecessarily is also an important factor. She keeps everything in check here all the time.
I'm
Always
just
aware of
avoiding
all
all
the
kinds of
things.
checks and everything.
Exactly.
With the king on a2, a1 is also covered.
You do allow a check with knight d2 though. Is that something that we have to worry about though?
No, that check I did
Can be
not
ignored, is it?
worry about. I mean, I did ignore it. Yeah. I mean, I saw knight d2 or king a2 and I
So
thought,
there is
fine.
absolutely no benefit of going with something like rook b8 first, is it?
I didn't really want to go rook b8 because I want to queen with a check.
Exactly, you're right on that, because I think I would
So-
want to queen with a check too.
Yeah.
So maybe playing something like knight f2 seems like the way to go. But after rook g5, do we go with b3 or do we go with b4 or do we go with king b1? I was more in favor of b3, but I'm not sure anymore after you said something. Maybe you do have some point there which could be useful.
Maybe not. Because, yeah, I mean, what is the difference though between both the moves?
Well, I've seemingly yet to figure it out, but I'm not so sure what is the difference. Maybe there is a difference.
There should be a difference.
There could be a difference.
I'll just get my mobile to charge and I'll be back. Okay, did you find the difference?
But I'm not entirely sure. But I feel like knight f2 is definitely the way to go. But after rook g5, I'm not really sure. Maybe black has something different or better. Maybe d3 or so. I don't really understand. Like, I feel like knight f2 is good enough here. I think we can go with knight f2 for sure. He plays knight g5. Exactly. After rook g5, I think both were open. I think b3 as well as b4 as well as king b1 all were working. So I think that's why he chooses knight g5. Where I think we queen with a check with a7. I think that's good enough, right?
Yeah, that should
And
be
then
good
follow
enough.
rook b7 and we should be good here. So a7. And then
Queen.
a8 queens with a check, and that's the end of it, because rook b7 also follows with a check. If the king came to g7, we can go with queen h1, and that should be good. Okay, that's why we have reached 56 here, almost closing in on the 60. I'm not really sure of my scores. It's the first time solving so focused, with so much focus. Otherwise, I try to solve them as fast as possible, and then we are done quite quickly here. So this is quite good. It's a good experience. And we have finally hit the 2900 range of the problem. So this problem is the previous one that we solved was 2964. I think we'll be going to 3000 pretty soon. So the problems are going to get vaguely difficult now, right? Let's see how we deal with it.
Okay, here we have a basic problem here.
We have a very basic problem at the 3000 level.
No,
Pretty interesting.
I mean, we can't just go rook d2. That's what I mean to say. We can't
Okay.
just play rook d2.
Something
so
instructive
that is,
here. So what do
the
we do
problem.
after rook d2?
He has a perpetual check with queen
Oh,
c1.
yes. Queen c8 and queen f5 is a
Queen
perpetual
c8.
check here, shown highlighted by Randy. Queen, king h7, queen f5. If you put g6, there's queen f7, queen f8. I'm sorry, queen f8.
In fact, he could also play for a win after queen g6 there.
Maybe he may try to get the queen to g3 and try to play for a win if he gets it there somehow. After queen g6, you mean? Yes, I'm definitely defending the g2 pawn and his 4 pawns up. Yeah, that's quite definitely a winning situation there, which could be
Otherwise, we go
interesting.
g6. Otherwise, just a perpetual check. Anyway.
Otherwise, a perpetual check. White can try for more, but that's a perpetual check for sure. There, king, if it comes back to g8 directly, sorry, king h7, queen f5, and king g8, we just go queen c8 check and repeat, and that's a perpetual there. So black needs to do either better. He needs to, if he's playing for a win, he needs to think of something better or be satisfied with the perpetual, because he's 2 pawns down. But
Yeah,
maybe we can think of something.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What if we just play king h7 first? A prophylactic.
Wow, what a prophylactic move here immediately by Andy. King h7, just trying to avoid the perpetual because she knows that rook d2 as it is a very strong threat. Now this can be done in many ways, Nandy. G6 can also be a way to play it out, but your move king h7 is pretty nice because it opens up the possibility of rook d2 and prevents queen c8, queen f5 as a perpetual. Quite nicely done here, and I don't see a good way for black to defend. Can you? For white to defend, I'm sorry, can you?
For king h7, yeah, actually he has nothing to do.
Yeah, that's the point. That's why it's better than g6, because g6 still allows white to get something after rook d2, maybe queen c8, and the queen rotates back all the way to h3, and that's avoided by playing the king to h7 first, because after that rook d2 is a pretty strong possibility for white to deal with. Is that correct? I think we can go ahead with
Yeah,
it.
you
because
avoid the checks, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very confident in your move here, king h7, which opens up rook d2 as a possibility, and white will have to sacrifice his queen probably, and that should be winning for us. Very nice.
Okay, we have a really vulnerable king on e8.
We have a really vulnerable king on e8 indeed. We have a fork going on with d8 and h8 hanging there. Everything is seemingly hanging. A king on h1 though is a little bit weak. And
We
considering
are a
the
rook
material, we
down.
are a rook down at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes, that's something to consider. So we need to go for the mate maybe, right?
There will be some mate somewhere.
There could be a mate here which we'll be looking forward to. But let's see. There are so many things going on. Queen b5, knight b5, knight d8, knight h8. Bishop on g5 hanging. So many things happening at once here. A beautiful position.
I was just thinking of knight d6, but I don't know.
She was thinking of knight d6. And after cd6, what do we have here?
Rook f8.
Rook f8. Wow. So king into f8 is almost forced, and then
Queen e7.
Queen e7 trying to escape. But maybe we need to give it a bit thought. Like maybe we need to think a little bit more closely. What if black managed to escape somehow?
Yeah. We also have queen b5 on move number 1, but I didn't really think it.
Queen b5 means black is almost forced to play c6 here. Do we
Yeah,
have
but
something after that?
okay, we don't really have. He doesn't have any checks that he could give immediately. So yeah, I think Yeah, there's no queen d1, no queen e4. Okay, I could
Exactly. So that's exactly what we
think
need to
of
think
queen
and ponder about.
b5, c6.
Knight b5 also is something that we could consider.
Yeah, knight b5 was also another move.
He does have queen e4 check though for that. So we do have the exchange of the queens. Is that good? What do you think?
Not really.
Not really, is it? Oh, okay.
No? Okay, we are getting the d8 rook though.
Well, we have to take in point that our g5 bishop is hanging and we are.
Yeah, so it doesn't look that good.
It may not be that
Yeah.
great, right? Yes, indeed, maybe.
What's the answer?
Well, I'm also thinking about it. Well, Brian, we have tried, not on stream yet, but we have tried. I'm not really that great at blindfold yet. I've never practiced it, never done it in not in recent times and not in the past few years at least. So yeah, maybe sometime later we may come up with such a thing where I might play some blindfold. At the moment though, I've seen a few players who do it. Like Vidit, I saw yesterday did it with three boards and he played very precisely, which is quite impressive. I may not be able to do three yet, but I will try. Maybe at least one I should be able to do, but need some practice for that. Definitely, it's not the same like uh, playing regular chess. So yeah, need some practice with it. Maybe sometime in the future we could showcase some of it. So stay tuned and subscribe either here or on the Twitch channel, wherever. Like we'll see, but maybe on both. We'll see how it is. It's difficult to make the choice, right? Like there are so many things happening. Knight b5, queen e4. There are so many things to consider. It's a wild one, actually.
No, I was thinking of some
Thank you, Brian.
idea. I was thinking of some idea like knight d6, queen e6, and something should be working there.
Yeah, I was thinking
the
of a
bishop-
waiting, an initial move of queen e6 here,
Yeah,
but I did
queen
not really
e6.
make it work. I could not make it work.
think he
Maybe
has
I'm
h
missing
into
something. He has
g5.
h into g5 or something
Yeah.
like that. I don't see what we can do next after that. After that, knight into b5 makes not much sense because there's queen e4 still. Knight e5 did make, but I believe you should get some checks going here, right? Like, what do you think? Queen e6 at g5, he has something like knight e5, initiating queen f7 as a mate, but maybe rook h7 holds everything together.
There's a way to get two rooks for the queen, but I mean that does not make sense to go into it.
Maybe, I'm not really sure. Yamu knight d6 does impress quite a lot, but after knight d6, he captures cd6. We play rook into f8, he plays king f7, king d7, we take queen into e7 and rook d8. Is that good enough? It may be good enough to win actually.
Rook d8, I would just capture queen d8 there with a check if.
No, EV plays king c6.
Oh, king c6.
And if he takes rook into d6, we take rook into f8, he plays king d7 for sure, we take queen into e7, he plays king c6. After that, what do we do? Do we just go with capturing rook into h8? I mean, he does have h into g5. After that, we can go rook c8. Maybe that is good enough to win. Your thoughts, Nandi?
How about when the king comes on the king side? Because that's the variation you asked me earlier.
The king cannot really come on the king side if you play knight d6, right?
Yeah, knight d6, c d6 is the line I told you earlier.
cd6. Right? So you want to take rook into f8, king into f8. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Well, there is queen into e7 for that, and the king goes to g8.
G8.
I think bishop f6 is winning here.
Yeah, that's what I
Should be
was
winning.
thinking. But
Bishop f6 is winning here by itself, but there may be something even better. Like,
that's why I said queen for two rooks. That is the line I was
you were thinking of
mentioning.
this. Oh, that's quite deep. That's quite nice. But I think bishop f6 is good enough to win here. There could be something better, but bishop f6 is good enough to win. That position is winning for white. Not theoretically, by understanding that should be winning for us. But I feel like knight d6 is the way to go. If you place king d7, we definitely have queen e6, followed by knight into b5, which should win us the queen. So I think we go with knight d6. Yeah, we should trust our instincts, right? Knight d6, and we did not. We were not really. That is not so nice. Like we are on 57 and we got the second one wrong. We trusted instincts way too much there. What did we miss though? We'll have to go have a look.
We need to reach 60 now. That's a target.
Um, there was one more move I just came to my mind actually, which was knight e5 in that position.
Okay.
If he plays h5, I had queen b5. If he plays c6, I had rook into c6. That was also a move that I was considering, but then I just favored knight d6 over it. Maybe knight e5. Let's see. We go back to it soon, maybe. Let's hope that we can get to some viable score here. We are at 57. Let's see where we can go. But the thing is that even if we make a mistake, the problems keep increasing in difficulty, and somehow Nandi also is not feeling very fresh, although she's the puzzlers expert.
I saw that I score 100.
Well, you do score 60 plus quite often, right, Nandi?
Not quite often. My average must be from 55 to 60.
55 to
Say
65,
50
like
to
that's quite
60.
a high average, Nandi.
My highest has been 62, so yeah, 50 to 60 probably is the average.
Well, she's very modest, but high average is quite good. She's a good puzzle solver. Takes her own time to evaluate every possibility and then finally delivers the great blow on her streams. Definitely check it out. Check it out on her streams. Somehow a little rusty, I think, maybe today.
That's 4 a.m. in the morning.
It's 4 a.m. Yes, very close to being 5 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully, our conversations are not getting boring for you people.
Okay, the king's on e4. But our king's also on f8. I mean, he has a direct threat of. He has some mating ideas. Does he? Or does our king escape?
I'm sorry, what did you want to play?
No, I'm just saying, if it is white to play, what would he do? I'm just trying to have a look at that.
He would just play knight into e6 and give us a mate on f7. I
Exactly,
feel like
so
maybe we need to be
knight
a little
e6,
far.
queen f7 is a direct threat.
Is it too late to start playing chess? Well, depends on where exactly you want to reach or what exactly your goals are. So I wouldn't really say too late to start playing chess at any age. You can play chess at any age. Even if you get old, you can play chess. Young, you can play chess. Kid, you can play chess. Any age, you can play chess. And it's one of the sports which you can play anywhere. So right now, most of it is online. So you can play online. You can play
Yeah,
on.
I don't think there's an age to play. You want to play chess, you can start chess at any age. It's going to benefit you anyway.
Yeah, and being different like a GM, I mean, it does take a little extra effort to get there. IM also is not really easy to get. There are a few challenges and some effort will be needed unless you are very natural at it. Maybe you will get there directly. But I feel like every GM has probably worked something or the other in his life for a long time. Like
No, but I have seen it
they have to
takes
work a little bit. Like something
um
special has to be done there.
for a lot of IMs who become GMs, they actually have a time gap.
Yeah, there is a lot of time
A
gap.
lot of
Even
time gap
when I became an
because
IM, I became an IM in 13, I believe, 2013, and I became a GM in 2017. Now, getting the norms, I had already got a few norms, but there was a little bit of struggle, and I would say, like, you had to do something special and work a little bit harder. At least for me, from my personal experience, you had to do something more than you would just do for an IM. Maybe I didn't work as hard as to become an IM as much as like I saw a little bit extra chess when becoming a GM. So there's a different phase that I feel, but it's up to different for every player. Depends on the player also. But if you want to reach 2600 and something above that, you definitely need something special. So that's a different category altogether. All the players in the elite category, they work at a different pace than the normal average player.
And they
So
work for so many hours too.
yes, exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, they need to do something special. They need to work on every aspect of the game, not just in game, not just opening, but every aspect of the game should be polished. So
Yeah, and not all of them can do other things in their life along with
exactly.
chess. So if you're that serious, that high level, you got to
Yeah, you
have
got to
chess.
devote a lot of time to chess and a lot of
Most of your
effort in
time
it.
to
So yeah,
chess.
most of your time, yes. So depends on your goals, Brian. If your goals are something of that to become a world champion, then you will need to devote probably all your time at chess. If you're starting now, maybe work for 18 hours a day, but I don't think that's going to be the case. But how do we deliver the mate here? It's like a race to the mate because both of them are looking for mates here. We as black also need to deliver a mate, and white is also looking forward to it. So how do we go about it? Yeah, that's unlikely. Like, there's a wild guess by me, but it turned out to be true. That's unlikely, yes.
We just consider the
But
forced.
you can definitely get to IM or so if you put some effort on a regular basis. It's not that difficult if you really like the game and you put some effort here and there, like even 3-4 hours in a day. If you do regularly, maybe someday, I don't know your age or so, but someday you could definitely get there.
I mean, there are GMs who have become GMs even at a very late age. So
Even at late age, I mean,
yeah,
there have been some GMs who have completed the studies, etc., worked, and then come back to chess and
after
then
40, they
becoming a
have become
GM.
grandmasters.
There are people who have become GMs after 40 when they became an IM at the age of 20. So there have been players like this, but I don't know how it worked out for them. The experiences maybe have been completely different, the priorities may have been different, so it depends all on you how exactly you want to go about it, your priorities, your experiences, and your liking for the game. So
He's 18.
he's 18. Okay, 18 means you have a great scope to become, Brian. I don't know what rating or something you are at, but you have great scope to become, to get there somewhere if you put some effort on an everyday basis.
A lot of
Don't think that you will do it for once a week and then have paid a toll on me. I mean, you will have some other things also on your mind. So if you think that you can completely ignore chess until you answer entrance exams and then come back to it, yeah, that will not work out well for you. So if you do it, you have to do every day at least 2-3 hours. Keep in touch, solve problems, solve something. Openings are not the entire thing, so you don't need to focus entirely on them. You do other things, solve problems on a regular basis, all the online sources. You can definitely get to a certain extent, yeah. Yeah, everybody seems to be picking up an interest in chess, which is quite good for the game. I mean, I see a lot of gamers in recent time picking up chess here. Famous gamers, top gamers who play other games like XQC, Boy. These are all are top gamers, and they are picking up chess now in recent times, which is quite nice. So, I mean, you can also do the same, maybe. If they find time from their schedule to play some chess from the other games. I see XQC playing quite a lot. So similarly, you could also do it, solve some puzzles, etc. You can improve your chess. But one thing is, don't get frustrated if you do not get the results. That's one thing which immediately like turns off people from the game. Not getting results by spending 4 hours and 5 hours on the board every day is a little depressing, but you have to live with it.
That's different from everyone. You should never compare with somebody else too.
I mean, I'm just talking from personal experience. So
Yeah.
it does get a little irritating, depressing. I mean, you don't get results, you mess up, but that's a part of the game, so gotta deal with it. Yeah, this is getting a little difficult, Nandi. I'm not able to figure out what exactly we need. A Neeraj here, right?
Shall I call him? Shall
Yeah,
I?
you definitely could call him. I mean, I would appreciate him being here with his serene voice. Exactly. If middle games and games are a tough part, you have to probably solve problems, not just tactics, maybe some other kind of problems. And end games, you can refer to any end game book, like any basic end game book, fundamental chess end games, Dorothy's end game manual. You can just have a look. 100 end game simulator. There are various resources you can look at to better your this, or even just using the online resources of chess.com, chess24, lead chess. There are many these sites where you can use the free resources also and try to better your game. Yeah, don't tend to play against the computer very often here, Brian, because you will not get the human element of it, so you will not really improve your chess quite a lot. Computer will be a computerish game. You will not see human elements coming into play like dubious moves. Computer will never probably play a dubious move very often. Maybe 1500. I've never played against a computer of 1500 strength, so I don't know for sure, but you will not see the dubious element of it. Like when humans play, they will look for an idea and try to play based on that idea, whereas a computer will play based on accuracy. So it's a different thing altogether.
Okay, not bad. So I'm back, and we are on
You blunder a lot, that's a
57.
part of the game. That will improve over time. But yeah, that will improve over time. We are 57. We just made a mistake, hence we called for your help, Neeraj. I think we needed it.
No, sure you wouldn't want my
You have the
help.
spark and the brilliance here to get this going for us. Yeah, the headphones definitely came in the way there.
You can understand the sarcasm. Okay, but anyway, so um, this feels somehow like, White is, it looks like we're in a kind of a race, right? White
Exactly,
is checkmating
yes.
us, and
That's exactly what I was telling Nandy a while ago. We are quite in the race here. Knight into e6 followed by queen f7, the checkmate, queen h8, and some ideas there for white. But black is also looking to mate the king right in the center. But the problem is we do not have any waiting, probably.
yeah, so
I think your rating is low will improve over time. Don't bother too much about the rating. Bother more about the game. That's a common mistake done by players. They bother too much about the rating. Your rating is low. You get paired against players who are slightly lower rated. That doesn't really matter. Just keep going. You will improve over time once you improve the game strength automatically. Don't focus much on the rating. Don't set targets based on rating. Is what very important. Base your targets based on your gameplay. You should be happy with your games. That's more important.
I mean, yeah, it looks like obviously when we talk about rating, right? No matter you may say that rating means nothing, but eventually, if your game is improving, your rating tends to increase, right?
Yes, your rating tends to increase a little bit. Maybe the voice could be a little more serene. Like it's a little harsh at the moment. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
Hmm. So we have d5 check in this position for
I mean, he does
starters.
escape with king f4 or king e5.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at the candidate move. So queen a4 check certainly has to be one candidate move.
One of the candidate
Then
moves
we have
indeed. Yes, he
d5
does have queen a4 check. I mean, we have d5, we have queen e1 check.
and
We
knight
have
d6.
calculated the candidate moves, but we cannot get
Probably.
the continuation going.
Queen a4, he has king f3, and if you go knight d4, he just goes king g3, king
And
h2,
tries to
so-
escape. Yeah, right.
Even
You're right
if you
about
try
that.
knight c2 and with a check next, I mean checkmate, that's not going to work because he has knight e6, queen f7. So
Yeah,
you need this should be a direct continuation.
there should be a direct continuation indeed. Yes.
Okay, yeah, hi Brian. So okay, so the thing is, a lot of people actually, they think that with a little bit of effort, like I mean, I would talk about myself, at times, I think that I work hard for a tournament or two, and results should just follow right there. It doesn't happen. Like I've been, I know Anurag since he was a kid, and after the IM title, I think he was. How many years were you with the IM title? Probably three
I
or
was
four
in for
years.
4 years. Yes.
4 years, exactly.
Exactly.
So there was this tournament, I think, in Pardubis where he made his third GM norm, and it was a wonderful tournament, and he played one exceptional game which you all can actually check out. It's there on our channel.
Yeah, I did analyze
A
it on my
beautiful,
channel against
yes,
Steve Daniel.
Beautiful game.
a beautiful attacking game. Please do check it out because
The name of the video is Triple Peace Sacrifice.
Yeah,
Tal
it's Triple
style.
Peace.
so basically
Sacrifice, yes.
it was Tal style. So yeah, not often do you play games like that. So actually he was on a roll in that tournament. And so after that tournament, right, when he made his third GM norm, but I mean probably that's when he realized that he was not working enough to bring up his rating. I mean I'm not entirely sure, but after that I did see a change. Like he definitely worked harder than he used to. and then the rating just went up. It was just a matter of time that the rating was just going to follow. So yeah.
Just like what you said, Brian, like you were thanking us for the motivation. That's exactly what happened that time, because I was quite motivated after that. And like I told you earlier, there have been ups and downs, etc. After that tournament, I was quite motivated and started working quite seriously. And then it soon came. I became a GM like in a year, I guess, in 2017. So yeah, so you exactly need such kind of motivation, and maybe that's why I say like you should be happy with your games rather than try to play perfect chess. So that's perfect chess, or try to play like an engine. Just be happy with your games and happy with your performance. Don't bother too much about the rating. That will come automatically. Yeah, definitely do check it out, Brian. Yeah.
Okay. Back to
I mean,
the
I was thinking of doing something like Queen A4, Knight H4, and trying something there, but I don't think that's working out well.
I think by
Queen
just
A4, Queen C6 was another possibility, but I don't know if that also is working out quite efficiently.
okay, I mean, but let's just if you're saying queen a4, what if d4 for starters? I mean, I don't really see how you are going to checkmate me even if you capture queen
If
takes
you play
d4.
D4, I will just capture on D4, Neeraj, and then capture the pick up the knight on
Oh
G7.
yes,
G7.
okay, okay,
Yes.
okay. So you don't
And
actually
piece up.
have to look for mate. You
Yeah.
are also trying to pick up that
And that's
knight.
exactly what we have ignored thus far, is that we can capture on G7 and try to escape with the king on
Hmm.
D6
No, you
and
can escape, but
C6.
the point is you should be gaining something in before you do
Exactly,
that.
we are
Right?
already a piece up, Nandi. I mean,
Oh, we are already
we are
piece
not a
up?
piece up,
No,
is it?
we're
We are
not.
No,
not
we
a
are
piece
not a
up.
We're
We are
piece
not
not.
a
up.
piece up. Sorry,
Probably
but
just a pawn up.
we are just a few pawns
So
up.
probably
So
actually that is actually maybe this is the first thing that we should be doing when we are solving any puzzle. I think we have to do a material count before anything, right?
indeed, yes. I mean,
Because
going back to the basics, yes.
probably that's what actually tells us what we want in the position. Because in this position, let's assume that white had an extra rook somewhere on the board. Just picking up the g7 knight would certainly not be enough.
Yes, indeed, yes.
So I
Certainly not
mean,
be enough, yes.
probably it gives a definite plan what you have to do in the position when you know what the material stands
Exactly.
actually.
How
So
we approach the position would
yeah.
be, that would be helpful in our approach, yes.
Okay, so queen a4,
Quite
king
indeed helpful. I
f3.
think I have a solution. I have a move here,
Yeah,
which
just go ahead with it.
I think queen e1 check. If he goes
uh
king f3, I go knight d4 check.
yeah, and then king g3 just has queen e5 check, and for king g4, what do
I
we
just
have?
pick up the pawn on f2, which looks a little rash, but I don't see a mate for him.
Oh, that's being ultra cool.
Ultra cool, yes, indeed. I mean, seemingly
um
I could
can I
be
capture an e6? No, can I go
putting
queen h?
myself in a
Okay,
ditch here, but
what about queen h8 check, king
king e7,
e7, queen e8 check? That looks like the only check.
king at d6, and I try to escape.
Are you escaping is the question.
I don't see any check anymore. You have knight f7 check, but for that I have king c6 or king c6. I'm just trying to escape, but I could very well be wrong here.
Okay, that could be the end of the puzzle rush if if it's that.
If I make a mistake, exactly. That's why we called you here.
I don't know how I scored a 62 when the problems
If we
are
do
so
not
tough.
get it right, we definitely have someone to blame for it. So
No, I really don't know how I've scored above 60. I mean, these are so tough.
these are
Seeing
indeed
these.
quite tough.
I know, I just got lucky. I think I got easier puzzles.
Maybe you were just more focused, Nandi, than today.
So what was your line, Anurag?
Queen e1, king f3,
Queen
knight d4.
e1. Okay, yeah. King f3, knight d4, king g4.
And queen into f2, just picking up the pawn. Being cool there, but I may be a fool. He might try something like queen g6, but I still will play something like d6 or d5
Okay,
and go
yeah.
aggressive with my approach. I don't see a mate coming there immediately. I mean, that's just my ideology here. I don't know if it works out for sure, but it's a possibility. I don't see anything better than that. Maybe I'm missing out, but I don't see anything better than uh, doing something as rash as that. Do we see something better? At first, I thought I can play queen a4 and just coolly play queen h4, but that leads to knight e6 and delivers a mate immediately, so
Yeah.
that doesn't work out clearly. Exchanging the queen should be one more way we could get something going.
How was
Probably
something okay? The same idea of yours. Okay, but it doesn't make sense. I mean, you're having that idea anyway, right? I was thinking of d5, e5, and
yeah,
then
but
go
the
for something
no,
like
but the
that.
problem is for d5. Don't I have king e5, and for something like this, couldn't I get actually really?
The queen c3 is
Oh, okay, queen c3. I just was trying to get a little adventurous with my
d5,
king.
king f4, then e5. Trying to get my bishop into the game.
D5 plus king E5, though, what do we do? Queen E1 check, is
Yeah,
it?
d5,
Queen
king
E1
e5,
check and then
queen
queen
e1
C3
check.
check is
c3
coming
check,
along
yeah.
this.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, that can be
Makes sense.
interesting.
That makes sense.
So d5, king f4, and e5 is what I was saying.
Yeah, okay, so this is just a very intuitional move. I mean, you're just trying to bring one more piece into the
Yeah,
attack.
getting the bishop into the game.
That seems quite good, actually. E5, king into
King
E5.
e5 and then
Queen
queen
E1 check.
e1 check.
If
So
king F4, we have queen into F2 check. If king
But
F6, we have
doesn't
queen
black
E7.
have the move king?
again
We
queen
have
Okay,
c3.
queen
queen
e7 check is
queen
there.
E7
So,
Oh,
check.
queen e7. Okay.
so I can go king takes d5.
So queen E7 check, king G6 and queen G7 should seal the deal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he does have queen into G7 followed by knight H7, but then we can play king G8, knight
And for
F6
knight
and
f6,
king
I
H8
have
and
king
we
h8.
escape. Yes,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think you're on the right path here, Neeraj. So that's why we needed you here. We can clearly see. So D5 seems like the way to go, isn't it? I think it's the most aggressive way and the best way. I think you should definitely play out the move. E5,
e5
and then queen E1 check.
check.
And knight E4, I think here we can just capture knight into
Yeah, I think you
G7, I
can
believe,
just
but let's
do
give it a
this.
thought. King F6 is something that's coming along.
For king f6, maybe we just have knight e8 check.
He does have king G6 after that.
Something like bishop e6. It may be a little strange, but
I think
doesn't
you're
that
right
just
about
leave
it.
me a piece up?
Exactly. I think that's it. That's the thing that we are missing out. So I think capturing the knight is good enough here.
Yeah.
And then knight E8,
check.
and that should be good. Yeah. The king escapes, and that's exactly why we needed Neeraj here on the stream
Okay,
to find us and help
that's
us
absolute bullshit.
with. We needed
It
him
was
to.
Nandini who just found out this answer, so yeah.
We needed him to give us the support and motivation because we are the trio and we work better as the trio.
Okay, so definitely it seems like there's something happening on this G file
Something like
over
rook
here.
g8, rook g6.
Something like rook g8, rook
Yeah.
g6 or something seems to be quite nice here.
Something like this comes straight to the eye.
Yeah, I saw rook g8 first, but yeah.
Exactly. Nandi immediately has this spark which works out pretty much very well. A great intuitional sense.
But it's not necessary that rook g8 is the correct move. But yeah, I saw rook g8 first. He saw rook g6 first. I mean, we all think differently.
Exactly.
It's not that we always think we're 100% right in the way we think.
That's true. Very true.
But yeah, considering moves like rook g6 should come first to your mind because they're capturing a pawn.
Could we do something like rook c8 though? Is that too simple or is it?
Yeah, makes sense. Now he's definitely thinking like a grandmaster, you know.
Not really,
when we are just looking at the king,
rook g8, yeah, he's going away.
He just discovers that there's a bishop hanging right here, which can be picked up.
Well,
which makes complete sense. Which
chess,
makes complete sense actually.
It does make a lot of sense. I mean, like if the queen goes to b6, we just capture the bishop on c3. I don't see an immediate mating idea here. I feel like I'm pretty confident that that could work out pretty well here. We can also think of rook into g6 after the f8 rook is defended with queen
exactly,
f5,
which makes even more sense.
Which makes even more sense here. So I feel like rook c8 should be the way to go. I mean,
but exactly how exactly do you develop this sense? Like, you know, like me and Nandini, we were focusing a lot on this because
exactly, like
it just looks it looks really good. It looks, you know, it's inviting. Like, okay, please calculate me.
Yeah,
what makes you ignore this and go for rook c8 as the first choice move?
Well, we try to not get stuck on one idea, but try to diversify and try to evaluate many possibilities at once.
How?
So that
I mean, like how do you get a sense of?
Which is just a sense which comes to us naturally over time, like.
Yeah, because for us, for example,
is there any particular book that you read or a particular thought process that you follow that allows you to, you know, indulge in more candidate moves than a normal player does?
Well, looking at it, like, okay, yes, I mean that's a skill we develop over time by solving difficult problems, etc. But there is a book by Doretsky which was quite useful in this, which is called Recognizing Opponent's Resources. When you see opponent's resources, automatically you develop this sense to first evaluate different possibilities which will just help your problem. Like, instead of going into one variation immediately, you just think of what your opponent can do before you start calculating. Like, what your opponent is capturing an f8, what if I just try to improve that rook on c8 is what I looked at. Now, I'm not saying that's the only book. There are many books which you can read to try to improve that, but it's a sense which you're trying to improve over
No,
time.
that's why we are going wrong. We are going to first calculate
And
rook
Rook C8 was the end of
g6.
it. Exactly. When we tried, the problem was very tricky here. It was very simple yet very tricky because we are more focused on rook into g6 and we tend to miss rook c8.
No, the point is we would calculate rook g6, rook g8 and everything, spend time, and then you'd say, okay, it's not working. Then we would go on to other moves.
We have to also consider the fact that, when we are in a game, we are always not looking for tactics, whereas here is solving tactics. So in the game, I'm always looking for ways to play the best chess or not trying to, find the most conclusive win here. Just trying to find a win. So rook c8 is something that comes to me naturally.
Like just one famous chess player just said, chess is all about finding the next best move in every position.
Exactly. I mean, is it Keres or is it...
No, it's me.
Oh, it's you. Well, I know a famous grandmaster did say that, but
Oh, okay. I had absolutely.
I was not
no
aware that
idea
a famous
about
to-be grandmaster is about to say it. But
No, I had absolutely no. I had absolutely.
well,
no
we
idea
have a
about
to-be
that.
grandmaster here in the trio is saying it, so that's quite nice. We'll definitely frame this quote later on.
Okay, what is black's immediate
Probably-
threat? Can
probably
I just play
the-
rook d8 here?
Yeah, rook d8 looks
Wait. We don't want
looks nice because you're going rook
We
takes
need to
f8.
cross the 60 mark.
Rook d8 with the idea of queen a8. Once again, a simple solution here. Trying to open up queen e8 or bishop e7.
No, but then
multitude
I
of
think
possibilities.
you would have to consider some kind of defense should be there for black.
Yeah, I mean, he might try something which we'll have to look out for, but it makes a lot of sense
It
to
looks
play
pretty
this.
simple though. I mean, it's hard to find a defense for black for rook d8.
Maybe something like queen b1.
Okay, so for rook d8, the
Okay.
first thing that comes to mind, no, rook a1 can't be played because now the bishop's line is opened here.
Yeah,
so-
but we have two possibilities to deal with, which is bishop e7 as well as queen e8. So
yeah, and no, I mean the main threat is just rook takes f8.
so
followed
rook
by
e1
queen
seems
a8
like a
knight.
better defense for that, because
Um,
bishop e7 as well as rook takes f8 has been taken care of here.
Okay.
The rook can retreat back to e8.
So for rook d8, we're looking at rook e1
Rook
because
e1.
now if you capture, you take back queen a8, and then black has this rook
Rook
e1
e8.
move.
Yes.
Sorry,
exactly.
rook e8 move.
Rook
Yeah,
e8,
exactly,
yes.
from e1. So for rook d8, rook e1, we've got to start all over again.
Not necessarily. We just got to find the best move.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
yeah. So we just have to see, moves other than rook into f8 first. Just consider something.
Some queen move probably.
Yeah, but the problem is you can't leave this bishop.
Could we go something like queen f2 though?
As well
That's
as seeing
cheeky.
queen f-
Cheeky opens up rook f8, queen c5, queen
Yeah,
f8, queen
exactly.
c8 idea. That seems interesting.
Yeah, and then you want to deliver mate that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was my
Makes
idea.
sense.
So if he goes rook c6, I just pick up f8 and play queen c5
Yeah.
and deliver a mate on c8.
So see,
right?
these are these cheeky little moves. I mean, so the point is, I mean, with a grandmaster here, he's able to find this move pretty easily, and this is going to be the if that is the answer, the entire position revolves around this quiet little queen f2 move, which kind of
Yeah, we tend to have
renews the
more
threat.
much better sense for such quiet moves because over time experience. Because in our games, mostly will not find direct tactics to work out. Mostly people don't miss such tactics very easily. But queen f2 is something that does tend to be missed out, and that's a mistake that
Oh,
we made.
wow.
We should have verified that.
That's
I
why I
mean,
was going to tell
maybe
you
we
to
had
wait,
we had a
because
better way. Like we had a better way.
you
maybe.
could probably move your queen somewhere.
Oh.
You
somewhere
don't
else.
know where.
Maybe it could be queen c3, which could do
I
the
was
same
going.
thing.
So I was going to say queen c3, queen f2.
Queen
got to
c3 may be
verify.
even more direct, but we have to definitely give it a thought and check out actually queen f2 why exactly it's not working. Maybe we have missed out on something, but it's the kind of it will be a quiet move. It could be queen c3, which could be
Yeah, queen
the
c3,
one.
rook.
I was
d2,
contemplating,
you
but
have-
I was not expecting you to play it immediately. But we can verify answers for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it
let's
was a good
just have
solve,
look
though.
at this. I think
You'll
it
have to
was
put the play button if you want to.
Yeah, you have to just put
play.
the analysis button. Yeah.
Analysis. You can
play
go on
problem. Okay,
there. No, you're going to play it.
No, just go for
So rook
analysis
d8.
and queen c3 maybe.
queen c3.
Okay. Now go to the analysis. Analysis.
Analysis.
Uh,
Okay. So maybe we are missing out on
this?
something.
Yeah.
We can try to solve it again though. Can we see it on the board? We can see it on the board,
Yeah,
I guess.
it's visible.
It's
That's
visible. It's a
fine, yeah.
little broken, but okay, it's visible. We can
So,
definitely give it a solve. Maybe we could 6
so
rook
just
d8,
rook d8,
rook e1.
It's definitely a queen move, but where to move the queen is a question.
It could not be. Maybe it's
no,
not
the
a queen
answer
move.
says bishop c3.
Oh.
Bishop c3. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay,
That's
but
also another quiet
what
move.
would make queen f2 wrong? That's what we have to
Yeah, we
figure
have to
out.
figure out what makes queen f2 wrong. There will be something which is
Although I
quite
could see the eval bar just drop right down there to
exactly. There will be
zero
something
point
that
zero
we have
zero.
missed out here. Let's see if we can find it. But does he have something like queen e4 here?
I'm not entirely. Oh, okay, so you're basically trying to make a square for the king.
Not really. I'm just trying to retreat back. If queen g3, I go back to g6.
No, I mean, what I meant is, in this position, I
Queen
think
e8.
you have.
No, no.
Okay, you have queen e8 too. Okay, okay. So I just was thinking maybe you've also just open up a
Yeah, maybe
square
open
to
up
do
a square.
this
Maybe
and this.
it's not working. Maybe, but we have to figure out what exactly it's not working. This is a difficult problem actually. Maybe after queen e4, we are not really that safe. So rook d8, rook e1, bishop c3. If he plays queen f2,
Maybe queen f2, queen e4 is the move actually.
maybe it's not working because the eval bar just shot up to a simple win here. I think queen c5 finishes things up.
That's queen g3.
No, queen c5, that's queen f4. Sorry, my bad.
I think it's
Queen
just queen
G3?
g3.
If he goes queen g6,
Then queen into e1.
we go rook into d, rook into f8, and okay, we can capture queen into e1 actually. But I think rook into
No,
f8
I think
and
I
queen
can just go
d6 is
rook
faster.
f8. Yeah, exactly.
Queen d6 is faster, so that
So
doesn't
if I
really
go
work
queen,
out.
queen g6 would be a blunder because we just have this queen d6. If you go king d8, I have queen d8,
Queen d8 and
mate,
king
if you
g8, we
come
have
here,
queen
we
d8
have
and then
this
king h8. Yes,
following.
indeed,
So
yes.
yeah.
So we go back, let's say. Let's try to evaluate it ourselves and try to find black's best resource here. Because we are missing out on something pretty simple, probably. Is that something simple? Rook c1? I mean, that's not really simple because there's bishop e7 coming, so that cannot be the move. The something simple could be queen
b1.
b1 maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just was looking at that.
So queen g3, he can definitely go king h7 now because you cannot play rook into
Yeah,
f8 because
and
of
there's
rook h1.
mate,
Yeah. Queen b1 maybe a move. Play it out and see. Yeah, so we did evaluate the best move. Rook queen b1 with the idea of rook h1 indeed is working out fine for black here. So queen f2 is not working for that reason, and similarly queen c3 on the other hand may not be working for what exactly? Let's verify.
Could it not be the same, exactly the same move? Queen b1?
I think
Because rook takes certainly is not working.
because of queen c5, king h8, and the king escapes.
Yeah, exactly. So this queen not being on g6 is helping black in multiple ways. I think queen b1 should be the move because, I mean, yeah.
I mean, white doesn't have an immediate. Black doesn't have an immediate.
You can't do
threat
this. You certainly can't do this because
of this. Yeah, queen c8.
like let's say you do this and actually black just escapes with the king.
Yeah, he escapes pretty easily. So let's just go back and just try some waiting move there. Let's just think of playing something like, for example, let's say we play something as simple as, what can we do here exactly?
I'm not sure there's
Can we
too
put
much.
h4 on the board here?
Okay, so a move like h4 I think can just liquidate immediately like this. At least we can clearly say that.
I think this should be winning for white after rook d5, rook b8.
Okay, I mean, not really entirely sure rook d5 wins because
he has bishop e7 coming.
No, I mean you're saying rook d5, right?
No, rook b8. I'll have to go.
Okay,
I'll have
so
to keep the pin going. I think this should be winning for white because the
okay,
pin is terrible,
maybe
yeah.
it's at least better, but
Yeah, but this is very difficult.
okay. So black need not actually exchange. I just was trying to find a simple
black should
way
just
out.
wait maybe.
For king g3, do I
Just-
have
just
something
go
like
back,
queen
yeah.
e4?
No. I think
Queen-
rook c8
G6?
is coming maybe.
Why can't I go queen e4?
Is rook f8 winning for me? I have queen h7.
I don't think so.
Yeah, rook f8, queen c5, queen c8, queen h8, queen g7, king h7, queen h7, and I capture the queen on e4.
Okay, that is quite some line, but king here, king g8 here, king h7, queen h8, king g6. Yeah, wow. Okay, so this doesn't work because of this. White goes queen c5, check, check, check.
Queen h7.
And I capture the queen on e4, so that should be winning.
Yeah, so
Pretty good calculation, yeah.
why not queen g6 there? I mean,
Where?
back.
Yeah, I think you can just
Yeah.
play rook e1 also back and
So
should be
in this
fine.
position,
Just queen g6 check, what's gonna happen?
yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you can repeat here.
Yeah, just play queen g6 for me. What can white do?
Yeah, I'll have to repeat because you get a perpetual queen c2, queen g6. Yeah, I cannot play queen f3 makes no sense because you have queen c2 and then you can repeat.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, there's a good explanation here. Bishop c3 is quite a unique move here because it opens up the possibility of playing what we are not yet sure, but I think it's a queen 8 which is opening up, but I'm not
Bishop
sure. Let's have a
c3.
look.
Of queen d3.
Queen
Okay.
d3. I mean, this is quite
This would have been quite
a tough one actually.
Yeah.
Queen
Actually,
d3,
with
like.
bishop c3, the immediate threat was bishop b4, right?
Yes.
Yes, the immediate
yeah,
threat was
exactly.
bishop
So
d4.
you're
Bishop
just
b4, that's why
creating
getting the
this
bishop
threat, so
behind.
black is forced to do this.
Rook
White
e4
does
and queen
this.
d3 is pretty strong here. I mean, it's not so easy to see. The idea is rook f8, queen d8, bishop b4, and queen into e8. So we have to evaluate what happens after h6. Now the point of h4, sorry, the point is that the bishop on b4 also covers the e1 square.
E1
Everything is falling in place here for him. Is h4 the best move? Yeah, he shows h4 as the
Yeah.
variation. After rook f8, surprisingly, the queen is covering the e1 square.
And then you just
Yeah.
yeah, so the bishop and the queen cover this square, and hence black does not get this repetition.
Perpetual, yes, exactly. A nice one here to finish the thing off. But we managed to get 59 on my account, which is quite good. I don't think my high score is as strong as.
No, I think
No,
it says it was the second best score.
It was definitely
Your
the second
all-time
best. So
second best. So
I think maybe 60 or so, maybe the highest. So yeah,
Oh, we'll check out the other ones we got wrong, right? The other two problems. The
indeed,
other two
yes, we can
puzzles.
definitely go back.
Oh.
Close this tab, this
okay,
one,
we just close
and
this.
Close this.
Maybe
close it, close
close
it.
this tab to close this tab,
Okay.
and here click on the previous one you got wrong. Yeah,
Yep.
this one seemed like there should be some
Knight
indirect
d6. I was
answer.
thinking of knight e5 actually here. Knight d6 is what we went ahead in the game.
we go
Maybe
to
even the move like
analysis.
rook f4 is something to be pondering about here. There are a lot of possibilities here. Is the move knight into h8? Is it? Wow.
Just capture the rook.
Just
that's
capture
it.
the rook. I mean, do we have something? Can we put the analysis
Yeah,
on
so
and
our
check
queen
this
e6
out? Maybe
idea, queen e6 is the idea. I did mention the queen e6 idea.
I looked at knight e5 also here, which
Yeah.
could be interesting, but maybe I'm completely off here because at g5, rook f2, maybe something coming there. I don't know, rook h2. Maybe I'm
Yeah, so
completely
the
off.
eval bar
Just you can
drops.
put show lines and just check it out. I think h into g5, knight into b5, and queen into c5, queen c5. Okay, that's a little complicated. And queen into b5, what is happening?
For queen takes b.
I think rook into h2 and then queen f2 maybe. c6, rook into c6, knight into c6. Oh, it just
You
completely
mentioned this.
deceives it. Yeah, it just completely ignores it.
Okay, so it's too complicated for me to find.
No, that's absolutely not.
Okay,
like,
so probably what the problem here for white maybe is that
too much material, like.
too much material, and it's not very easy. It's not always they're going to successfully deliver mate with
Mating
just two
idea,
pieces.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
Two pieces many times is not. So there's this book that I read. I think it was an Agad book, and he actually has one chapter called "The More the Merrier" or something of that sort, because he says that one of the simplest formula for a successful attack is bring every piece into the attack.
Okay, so cd6 was correct on our part, but
Exactly. The queen is coming to g7
cd6
is what we
what
entirely
we
missed.
saw was correct.
We missed out that after rook d6, the queen is coming back to g7. So we tend to miss out on that. So rook d6 covers bishop
Queen
f6
e6,
idea
I
also.
think this we saw correctly.
Yeah, we saw this correctly.
But there was rook d6 what we missed out on.
we
Let's
missed
say
out
rook
on
into
we missed out on
d6,
the rook on d6, queen on d4, cover of bishop
rook
f6
into
idea.
f8.
So after king f8, queen into e7, he has simply king g8. We don't have queen e8 working
Don't
here.
have
Bishop
bishop
f6
f6
also
idea
is not
too.
working. So that was exactly
Okay,
where
that
we
was
missed
what
out.
we missed out on. Okay.
But is something else winning here? Like after h6, there should be like after h6.
Not really. I think
There should be something else winning, like queen b5. Exactly. I was thinking like there will be many ways
Queen
to go for a
e6,
win. Queen e6 is something that we considered.
we did play. Yeah,
but
we did
I
consider.
mean, considering queen b6 for that is very difficult. That's pretty wild. Queen e6 at g5, knight e5 was one of the idea that we had in mind, right?
Knight h8.
We're
just
seeing rook
wins,
h7. Yeah, we had seen rook h7 actually.
Knight h8.
Knight
just
h8
wins,
is winning for him. Yeah. So
yeah.
the idea was
We
that
just
it's
completely
Yeah,
left
we
out the
went,
possibility of capturing the rook.
simply
It's just a
capturing
free
the
rook. Yeah, just capture the rook. Okay.
We ignored it completely.
We will go to the other puzzle we got wrong. The first one we got wrong today in the stream. So this one should not have got wrong.
Yeah, so I think here e3 f4 was the way to go if queen h6 did not work. Sorry, if f4 did not work, queen h6 ef3, queen f3 is saying
F6.
bishop g3. Okay,
F4.
E f3, queen
EF3.
f3, bishop g3, and
Yeah,
then
Queen
so
f4.
F3.
Exactly.
need
That's what my issue was. Like, if I go f4
Oh wait,
first
no,
here,
Bishop G3
if I go
and
f4 first here, there was something like something was
I
working
think
here.
E
Ef.
takes F4 just
So this
works.
idea was working, right? Bishop f4, and I was worried that rook e8 check might come somewhere after gf4. So that's what scared me a little bit, and I thought that idea was better. But I think
yeah,
rook e8, knight
Rook
e5, queen
E8.
e8. I think we're escaping, but it's a pretty long idea.
Yeah,
Black still seems to be better, right?
Black is simply better. Rook e8 check, king
we have
f7, knight
not.
e5 check, something like that. I was worried about. Maybe I missed out there.
So you're saying
Knight
this
d6
move
check.
is working?
It is working indeed, but bishop to g3 is much stronger.
Yeah, it's stronger.
We didn't go with this though. We
Yeah,
went
actually,
with
they probably would not have asked. Maybe EF3, maybe the line would be over because both the moves are winning, right? They usually do not ask when two moves are winning, like
No, I mean, I did hear, I
Bishop
think, was it
G3,
Robert Hess or Danny or someone
G3.
from chess.com say that they have, I think, over 35,000 puzzles or something. So they try to eliminate positions which have two winning moves.
Yeah, I mean,
But
almost like it's clearly winning. They
yeah, so they
usually
do
make
have.
it.
So I mean, so the thing is, it's not like it's every single position has already been filtered. So
Yeah,
probably if you write to them
Rook
about this, they
E8,
may make a small correction or two here.
F7,
Yeah, I think black is just exchange up. White can go queen takes f4, queen takes f4, rook f1.
and then after this
Probably
rook
rook
h1.
f1 doesn't work
so
because rook
Rook
h1.
F1
No,
and
Rook h1 is even
Black
better,
yeah,
right?
rook h1 is even stronger, I believe.
Yeah, Rook H1 should be even stronger.
Yeah, so
And queen f1 and
Queen up.
king into e8, and that
And the
finishes.
next
So that
king E8,
wraps things
okay.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, so first the point was you need to play EF3 and Bishop G3 and then F4.
Yep, that was the much stronger one. Yeah. We slightly messed up on this one. Yeah. We went
But the
with
idea
f4.
was right.
The idea was right. Yeah.
Okay, so here is an end to our puzzle rush. We ended at 59.
okay,
I
at least that gives us the lead. We are we are the leaders globally, at least
In the
this
hourly,
hour.
is it? Oh, that's quite
Yeah, this hour we
And
are
intriguing.
let's see daily. That
we are number 10.
daily we are on number 5.
5.
5 that
Number
is.
5.
So we have an Indian international master on first position. That's Sankalp Gupta. Then we have a grandmaster on,
Meronius is also here.
and then we have Jobava on.
66. Jobava seems to be solving puzzle rushes quite often recently. Is I think the second highest or the third highest? The third highest.
Yeah, in the overall too,
in
he
the
stands
all-time
at
too, he's
109.
109, which is
That's a
quite good.
distant dream.
That's a
And
Solving.
you're
distant dream,
planning
but we
about
will
75.
definitely
We couldn't at 60.
we will definitely touch 60 in the near future. Maybe the next team we can definitely try for 60, not 60, 75 more. We will be more focused, and right now it's 4:45 in the morning, so I think that will be
I think
time
it's
for
time
us
to
to
wrap,
wrap
right?
up and go to sleep. So we will see you soon in the next one.
Yeah,
And
it was
thank you
nice.
for
It was nice having all you guys. Although I was there for probably lesser time than you all were.
indeed, we definitely missed you, and all people in the chat
So
will agree.
anyway, so the thing is that please
Please do subscribe and follow us on all our platforms, and we will see you soon in
Yeah.
the next stream. So
we hope
stay tuned.
we hope to at least teach you something through our videos and streams. So yeah,
Something instructive, trying to get something instructive going at all times. So we'll see you soon in the next one, and until then, the Go and Chess Trio says a very good night and very good morning to the people who are from other countries. So have a good day, and see you
Bye.
next time. Bye.
yep.